Cyberpunk's possibly the most dramatic game launch in history, and in spite of a challenging year, there's much to celebrate this holiday season. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 254 of the It's Obvious podcast. My name's Garrett Drake. I'm joined online by Jacob Alka.
Good morning, gentlemen.
And Preston Pugh.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, pleasure as always. It's a beautiful December morning here in Atlanta, Georgia. It's quite cold, but the Christmas tree is lit right next to me. It's a beautiful sunny day, and I'm very excited to talk about video games with you both. As always, we were just talking before we started recording that we're coming up on 6 years of being a podcast. Of course, we've had our inconsistencies. We certainly lost our momentum along the way in terms of growth, but we have never not loved doing this podcast and sharing these conversations and posting them online so that all of you around the world can join us and feel a part of that conversation. So it's an honor and privilege as always to have you guys joining us. And gentlemen, that being said, I would love to hear about your weeks. How you been?
I've been okay. Been really busy. Been working a lot. Been scrambling to get Christmas stuff ready. Actually, today I have to go back and do some last minute shopping for my mother. I failed to find a gift that I think would be appropriate for her. So just been kind of trying to, make sure everything's in line for when Christmas is here. And I'll have to work a little bit here this Christmas week, but not too much. It'll be less hours. So I'm excited about that. Have some time to get some more games in. Finished Mando last night, season 2. It's really good. I think we're going to talk about it here at the end of the show.
Oh, yeah.
And that's about it for me. Tonight, me and my family are finally going to sit down and watch a Christmas movie together because at this point, I've failed to do anything Christmas related whatsoever besides set up my tree and buy gifts. That's I haven't done anything else related to Christmas other than that. So I don't really feel in the spirit, I guess. So I guess I'm going to use today as sort of a catalyst to get me in the seasonal mood, if you will. But that's pretty much what's going on with me.
Yeah, for some reason, my feelings around holiday seasons, like the spirit of Halloween, the spirit of Christmas, have long been absent from my life. I don't know why. It's like every year I'm like, okay, this is the year I'm going to do everything it takes to get in the spirit. Like even this year, maybe for a brief moment, it felt like the Halloween season to me because I was watching horror movies or Halloween-related movies like night after night. Mm-hmm. And that definitely helped. But for some reason, I think when I don't know what age I was, it just died in me. It's like I want to feel the spirit, but I don't anymore. It's really weird. Mm-hmm. But thankful for the seasons nonetheless. In terms of gifts, I am facing the crisis that America is collectively facing right now, and that orders are just vanishing when they try to get delivered. I know Amazon's probably just completely drowning in orders. I know I've heard that UPS and FedEx it's like a nightmare right now. To no one's surprise because very few people are actually shopping in stores at the moment.
Dude, I was supposed to get a package tomorrow or yesterday, and it never came.
Yeah, one of mine were straight up stolen. Another one has taken almost 3 weeks to get here, and it said it'd be like 3 days. It's still on its way. It's just been massively delayed. So the Christmas gifts, and I'm a fool too because I didn't keep track of time. I just didn't realize how quickly the month was going by. I ordered all my Christmas gifts for people like a few nights ago. So many of them are probably going to arrive late, unfortunately. Yeah. But it is a bummer, but understandable nonetheless. So Merry Christmas.
I'm signing into my account right now to see where my package is.
Yeah, it's a shame because many Amazon drivers are not actual employees. They're a bunch of freelancers. So they obviously don't care much about what they're doing. And, the drivers consistently in my area, I shouldn't even say consistently, they inconsistently deliver the packages properly because they're meant to go, the larger packages go in this locker system that my apartment complex has, or it goes in our mailboxes if it fits. Mm-hmm. But if the lockers, I guess, are booked up, they can't take it to our leasing office because the leasing office hasn't accepted packages in months because of COVID. Yeah. So the drivers literally just throw them on the ground next to these lockers. That's just an open door to the public. Anyone can walk in there, and they're just all over the floor. And for some reason, I typically get a notification when stuff is delivered, but something I'd ordered from Amazon was delivered, and a week went by until I realized it. And I go in there, and of course it's gone. And the leasing office didn't have it, and there were all kinds of packages just strewn all over the floor. I could have scooped up any of those packages and just taken them with me if I felt like it. So packages vanish from there all the time. But thankfully, Amazon was kind enough to send me the exact same thing again. It just had to go to my parents' address. So,
That's
bummer.
interesting. I haven't had any issues with Amazon delivering anything to my house yet. Of course, I say that now, and I'm probably won't receive a package the rest of the year.
Yeah, I imagine it's a little simpler too, taking it straight to a house versus like an entire apartment complex.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen them before too. Just get out of the truck and just like dump stuff on the floor. I'm like, my goodness.
That's
Garrett,
ridiculous.
you mentioned that delivery drivers are having trouble like getting people packages in apartments, and I've dealt with that firsthand. Like with people ordering our meals for my work, like I can't tell you how many times we've gone to apartment complexes and we just can't get in the gates because customers aren't picking up the phone to buzz us in the gate, or like we can't get into the leasing office because they're just closed, every single one of them. So I definitely feel that, and it's not necessarily fun to be in that profession right now, let me tell you. But
yeah, I imagine.
We manage.
Well, Preston, what have you been up to? How's your week?
Oh, it's fine. I had COVID for the past 2 weeks. I had COVID, so I had the past 2 weeks off from work. So I definitely was able to catch up on a lot of video games. And I do want to clarify that I am extremely cautious during this entire time. I always wear my mask out in public. How I contracted COVID was purely just an unfortunate circumstance with a coworker that he kind of brought it on me. It is what it is. It didn't affect me really at all. I felt like I had a headache for like 2 days, and I lost my sense of smell and taste for about a week, but it's back now. So, at the end of the day, fortunately for me, it was not a big deal at all. So I'm thankful for that. But so I've had about the past 2 weeks off. So I'll start going back to work again on Monday and work a few days this week, and then be off again for Christmas. But I pretty much took my Christmas break a little bit early this year. So. But that's pretty much all I've been doing this week for the most part. I've been quarantined, in my room, and I've just been stuck in my room for about 2 weeks. So
nice. Seems like a good time to be stuck in there with Cyberpunk.
Yeah, dude.
Thankfully, you have a pretty gnarly PC. Imagine if you just had like a base PS4 and you're like, oh, sick, 2 weeks off to play Cyberpunk.
Yeah. I gotta. I was home for Phoenix Rising, so I got to play that a lot, and then, for Cyberpunk as well. So definitely, if there were, 2 weeks to have off, these were 2 good weeks to have off. So, but
absolutely,
yeah, that's all I pretty much did.
Cool. Well, I didn't really do much of anything at all either, so I feel like that is a perfect segue into what we've been playing. I feel like we've probably primarily been playing Cyberpunk. Is that correct? I know, Jake, you've probably been playing WoW along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Preston, you've been playing
That's about it.
An assortment of things, or mostly Cyberpunk?
I've been playing kind of an assortment of things, mainly 3 things for the most part. At least this week. Cyberpunk, since it came out last Thursday, I've been playing that probably a majority of the time. But before that, I was playing Persona 5 Royal almost exclusively. And I just want to talk about that game for a second, because Persona 5 used to be one of my favorite games, but after all the time I've put into Royal, I can no longer say that. I have to say
What happened?
Well, because I have to say Persona 5 Royal is now one of my favorite games. It has overtaken the original Persona 5. Haha,
Okay,
got you there.
You actually did.
Yeah. But Persona 5 Royal is so incredibly good that I have been at the very end of it for over a week now, and I cannot bring myself to finish the game because I do not want to beat it. Because I feel like this game has been a television series that I have spent the past half year participating in, and I'm finally like at the final episode of the final season, and I just do not want to say goodbye. Everything that was added to Royal, I finally got to. Like I said, I'm at the end of the final palace, which is they put at the very end of the game. I thought I did something wrong to not even get to it because I essentially got to the end of the original game and fought the final boss of the original game, and the new villain of Royal essentially takes advantage of what happens at the end of the original game and builds upon it. And story-wise and character-wise and stuff, it's freaking brilliant, and it is just so incredibly good that I was just like just in awe almost of how they took one of my favorite RPGs and just made it just even better. Because and at first, when I first started Royal, and I've heard some people, say online and stuff like, oh, I just wish I could play the new content. As much as it kind of sucks originally to say it, you can't just play the new content. You have to play the entire game up until that point, because they sprinkle these new characters and the 3 new confidants throughout the original game, and those 3 particular characters build up to what happens at the very end. So if you were to just jump in and play the new content, it would make no sense. You would have zero context, and it would not be even close to as impactful. And the thing that is so impressive about these new characters is that this new villain is actually making me question my morality in this game, because his goals and what he's striving for as a villain, I actually understand. And it actually made me think like, holy crap, like what you're trying to do, I completely understand why you're trying to do it. And you could technically argue that the villain is right. And I that's so rare, I think, in shows or games or anything, to have a villain that actually kind of makes sense. He's not just evil for the sake of being evil. Like, he has his backstory provides reasons why he's doing what he's doing, and it actually makes sense. And as I was fighting him, I'm like, man, like, I kind of agree with you. Like, why am I fighting against you? But of course, as more things come out and stuff, and kind of as I hear the people, your confidants talk and stuff, like it makes sense why what he's doing is technically wrong, and I do believe, but I still think his goals are, I understand completely where he's coming from, and it sucks that like in this game it has to come to you taking him down. But yeah, it's just great, dude. I without spoilers, Jacob, do you remember Goro Akechi?
Yeah.
They do so much more with him in this game, and he is really? He is freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was awesome in the original game.
Oh my gosh,
he just kind of became irrelevant at one point.
Yeah, he becomes unirrelevant at the end of the game, and It is so freaking awesome. I'll just say there are tag team attacks that are added into this game called showtimes, and it's pretty much the characters will team up and do like these really cool flashy attacks. And I don't think this is spoiler, but Joker and Goro do one that you can unlock at the end of the game. And when it happened, I was just like, it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Just because of like everything that happened in the game and stuff. I don't know. I do not want to spoil anything because it is worth playing so much. Like this game is in my top games of all time. I think it's the best JRPG I've ever played. The new music, dude, is so incredible too. I love this game so freaking much, and that's where it like pains me to say and think that like I don't know how a normal person can play this game, because it took like a global pandemic for me to even like get to the end of this game. It took me like several days of like nonstop playing to even get towards the end of it. I think my save is at 160 hours or something right now, which I guess, yeah, but it's like, that's a lot, but people put in like thousands of hours in like other games. So it's really not that bad. It just, I guess because I've been playing it over the course of like half a year, it just seems so long. But I keep seeing Royal on sale for like $30 and stuff. That is one of the best deals ever in gaming, to get this game for $30, to have this much content.
Is it $30 right now on like the store?
Yeah, dude, I'm
gonna go ahead and buy it.
Garrett,
if you see, even if you don't play it, for this game to be
I'm gonna
that
take advantage of that.
cheap,
I'm gonna play it at some point.
Because I hate that the original Persona 5 is a part of the PlayStation Plus collection, because the original Persona 5, of course, is amazing, but Persona Royal is just so much better. It adds so many quality of life things. It makes the combat better. The story is better. The confidants they add are better and more fleshed out. Like, it's just a better game. And I hate that if somebody just plays the original Persona 5, of course they're playing an incredible game, but there's a better version of that out there. And that's just sucks, that if you invest all your time into playing Persona 5 and, you know, then you have to just like start it over again. Cause like I said, like, you need to play through this game completely from the beginning for it to be as impactful as it is, and for things to make sense, you know? But yeah, that's really all I have to say. I just, like I said, I've been at the end of this game for such a long time, and I'm just sad to finish it, because of how much I like these characters, you know, so much. And the new character, Kasumi Yoshizawa, dude, she rules. Her backstory is so good. You have no clue where it's going until the end of the game, and then it's just like, holy crap, that is nuts. Like, what they do with her, it's just so freaking good, dude. I cannot recommend it. Even if you've played the original, dude, I cannot recommend replaying this enough. It's so freaking good. So yeah, so I played a lot of that, and then I played Cyberpunk as well. So, which we'll talk about that, but definitely had to gush about Royal, just because, you know, how much I absolutely just fell in love with it for, I think, the third time. I kept saying on this podcast, every time I pick it up, I'm just like, holy crap, this is so good. But just sitting down with it exclusively for a week just, you know, amplified those feelings.
Yeah, you definitely got me wanting to play it again.
Yeah, dude.
Say that.
So good.
Same. That's the great debate I have right now is, do I continue in Cyberpunk with my current rig, which is fine, it's suitable, or do I just want to like put it on hold until I can upgrade my GPU, which is hopefully within the next few months.
I'm debating that too, not just for my computer purposes, but also just everything that's been happening with the game and how it's been sort of handled in terms of people talking about it and how it's performing, how it's what CD Project, as Garrett put it last week.
Project.
Or maybe it's Preston. I think it was Preston, actually.
Yeah, it was Preston.
But yeah, I don't know. It's seems like this game is maybe what it was rushed out of the door, maybe. So I don't know. It's a weird situation because I remember when Witcher 3 came out, and I mean it certainly had its bugs and stuff, but it wasn't like this. And of course, they didn't have to deal with trying to support 4 different versions of a console. Well, technically, there's only 2, but it runs better on the newer consoles. And on PC, of course, it's working best there. It looks the best there. But yeah, it just seems like they pushed this game out of the door, and now they're paying the price for it. So.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean I'm not having a good time.
I think that not only just the news that's come out, but I think the writing's just all over the wall. I think it's like blatantly obvious as to why they're in the situation they're in. But before we get into the drama side of it, let's talk about the game itself. I don't have too much to say. I've only played about 20 hours, but I'll let you guys kind of go for a while, and then I'll give my 2 cents.
I have 70.2 hours in Cyberpunk based on my Steam counter, whatever it is, next to the game. So I've definitely put a decent amount of time into the game, and I have a love-hate relationship with this game. I think sometimes some play sessions I have with it are fantastic. I am having a really fun time. And then there are other sessions where it seems like nothing can go right for me in terms of just bugs that I encounter and just random performance issues where, like I said, for a few hours I will be playing the game and it's running absolutely flawlessly. I'm talking like over 100 frames per second, running completely fine. And then the next second it will just be a catastrophe, or it's just dropping every 5 seconds. NPCs are just running around like crazy people for no reason. I like spawn my car in and it just like rockets off into the sky. Just hilarious things. And depending on like the mood I'm in that particular day, it either irritates me, it'll irritate me more days than others. But besides all the bug stuff, and I definitely think that's something that needs to be talked about. I think the game at its core has issues, and I think that is what's being overlooked by all these bugs. Cyberpunk doesn't really do anything better than any other game, and I think that's
definitely not.
I think that's the most disappointing aspect of it. Is I think the only thing that kind of is what stands out about this game are the characters and the writing, because I think those are done extremely well. I really like the overall story. I really like the characters that you're introduced to, like Takamura, I believe, is a really cool character. I really like Judy. I really like Panam. I really like the fixers, like Wakoto. I think she's really cool and interesting. If I got her name right there. I've done several side missions with very interesting characters. Like I did one where this guy believed himself to be the Messiah, and Brain Tant's film crew was following him around wanting to record everything, and that entire mission was me just like following around this guy, and who was a once murderer who is trying to like completely like redeem himself and stuff. Don't want to get too spoiler with it, but it was extremely interesting, very well written side quest, and I've come across quite a few of those quests, so I enjoy those quite a bit. But like Jacob said, I think it's very clear that this game was rushed out. I think that it needed to be delayed some more. There are so many features that were talked about that are just missing from this game. Like the cop AI is completely non-existent. You can be out in the middle of a desert and shoot a random person and they'll just spawn behind you. They won't chase you. There's no car chases. There's no car AI whatsoever. They're just driving in a path, and if that path is obstructed in any way or if you interfere with it at all, everything breaks. There's no customization in this game, which is just mind-blowing. Like there's no barber or tattoo parlor or like that alone is like just shocking to me. That in the entire, like, one of the entire points of Cyberpunk is like, you know, it's the aesthetics to it, is like making yourself look a particular way, and you know, once you create your character, that's just completely gone. There's no car customization. Granted, they said before the game released they were taking that out, but there's an entire list of things that were supposed to be in this game that are just gone now. So I think that's disappointing. But regardless of all that stuff, like I said originally, it's like this game really doesn't do anything that gameplay wise that really stands out. You know what game that I think is better than this game gameplay wise? Deus Ex. Deus Ex is
I've been thinking that from like the first 15 hours. I'm like,
Deus Ex is a better game gameplay wise than this game.
Yeah, I know. That's what's so sad. I mean, that's the thing, is that there's so much to unpack from this, is that even in my first 20 hours, like I fully understand that. I've heard that when you gain more perks and upgrade your attributes, like combat improves, but like I think it's a problem if like my first nearly 20 hours, I'm like, have not really had fun in combat. I mean, it functions fine, but there's just nothing about it that really wows me whatsoever. And that's the thing. I think I'm just like, I've played the Fallouts and like I can deal with like slightly, it's not even really like, it feels great on PC to like shoot and everything, but I don't know. Something about it hasn't really grabbed me. And like Preston was saying, with like the writing and characters are really solid, but they're just in a world that just is not that, it's not fun to explore. Like we know, there's like not much to do in it. And like AI is just so atrocious that I think what I've been talking about for months leading up to this is like, oh, I just want to get lost in that world. And like I'm like the characters and writing, like that's great and all, but it's almost like you could take the exact same stories and just put them in like comic book form or write books instead, because the gameplay is just has not been fun to me at all. And that's why like I always have to like convince myself to like get back on and play it. And that's why I'm like distracted. I'm like trying to play through Metal Gear Solid, because I'm like, even that old ass game sounds more interesting to me than Cyberpunk right now. And that's why I'm like, well, maybe if I have a better GPU, it'll like the world will be so cool looking that I'll want to play it more. But
it's not.
If there's nothing to do inside of it, I just couldn't really care less.
I don't know. I'm going to push back a little bit. I think I'm still pretty early on, and I'm still really finding the world pretty interesting to travel through and interact with. But you know,
no, I completely,
sort of Dwayne.
I agree with you. The world is extremely cool. Like I love the different regions, how different that they look. I think the Badlands is really cool. But after I guess 70 hours of like it kind of wears off. You know, back when they were first showing this game, they were talking about how the different regions that were like run by these different gangs and stuff would kind of be different. Like, for example, Pacifica is supposed to be the region that was, you know, taken over by the Voodoo Boys, and there's like no law there. You know, construction was started in several places down there, but was never finished just because of how crazy it is down there. But you don't feel that when you go down there. Like it looks like that, but it's not like you're being just like randomly attacked or mugged and stuff while you're down there. It's just like every other part of the game. It just looks like it's underdeveloped. I think that's just kind of the main thing, is like this game doesn't, I don't feel like I'm affecting the world in this game. It's so unimmersive when I'm walking down a street and I go up to a vendor and I talk to the vendor and they tell me to F off. Like, why? Like, you're selling stuff. Why are you yelling at me to leave? And I have
every person that you talk to just tells you to leave them alone.
Yeah.
Is that just me?
I have max level street cred. Like, I have level 50 street cred. Mm-hmm. What's the point of street cred in this game if I have max street cred and I walk up to somebody and they tell me to go F myself? Like, what's the point? I don't even get the point of that level. Like, it like locks a few things you can't buy, but like, why couldn't they just have your level tied to that? Like, street cred makes zero sense if it doesn't affect the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's literally no point to it.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's just a needless system in the game. I feel
Another
like
thing that bothers me is like it's just why haven't they learned lessons from other open world games that you'd think CD Projekt Red of all people would like have this figured out, but even like the simple nature of the GPS system when you're driving around is so frustrating. I know a lot of people have complained about that, but like what's the point of having this beautiful world to look at if I'm having to stare at that mini map?
Yeah, dude,
the entire time I'm
they
driving.
literally can make it work with the enhancements in your eyeballs to tell you where to turn and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, and especially because I would have less of a problem with the mini map if it was zoomed out more. You get to a turn, and it's like you're 3 inches away from where you need to turn, and then it tells you to turn on the mini map.
It's pretty. It's like little things like that just rampant throughout the entirety of its systems, and I'm like, how come? I mean, I know they've like the story of like, oh, it's been development for so long, and ideas get scrapped, and like they start over, and like they probably did most of the development in the last 3 years. I understand that, but like, look how many open world RPG action games have come out in the last 8 years that they can learn lessons from along the way. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. And I have a debate with myself about this because it's like there are so many. It's like I wanted this game to be almost like kind of how Red Dead 2 took the step with interactivity, with how like the world reacts to you and stuff. And I wanted that to just be like, in this game times 10, because they kept saying how this was supposed to be like the most immersive world ever created and stuff, but like maybe expectations were just too high, and this wasn't meant to be a game like that. But I guess it's because the games are kind of related in that aspect. I've been getting recommended so many Red Dead videos on YouTube recently, to the point where I actually downloaded it on my PC and played it for a few hours yesterday, and immediately, dude, I became like immersed in that world. It's just like walking through Valentine, tipping your hat to people, them like saying hey to you. I went to another town where I had a bounty, and they were like telling me like, oh, so you've shown back up here. It's like clearly my
people remember you, animals will remember you and stuff.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I'm having an effect on this world. Like I told you, when I originally played Red Dead, I role played in that game. I shaved, I got haircuts, totally. I dressed for occasions. Like I was a cowboy when I played that game. And in this game, I don't feel immersed in this game ever. I'm just running. Like a majority of the time I've spent in this game, and like you can check my Steam achievements, I've completely cleared out Watson, and I've completely cleared out another area from all the police scanner, like the blue icons. And when I'm playing the game and doing that, I'm turning on a podcast and I'm just running from area to area to area to area, just like shooting people. And that's not what I wanted from this game, but I can't. This game. That's not my like. I guess it's like, oh, well, that's your fault because you're not trying hard enough. Maybe I've tried to be to be like immersed in this game, but it's kind of hard when you can't see your character and there's glitches happening every 5 seconds, and especially when there's no like systems like that where like you have to like maintain your appearance, or you there's no point of even going back to your apartment or anything. I can't make a vehicle my own. Like the gun customization is extremely limited. Like you can literally add a scope or a silencer.
Gosh, dude, like it's like you can see like the potential in this, like we've known for years at this point. Like there's so much potential, but it's just it's so complicated too. I don't want to go on a huge tangent, but CD Projekt Red, I think, just got in their own heads about like, now that we've been recognized as making one of the best open world RPGs of all time, we've got to top that in every way. And it's like they bit off more than they can chew right now.
Gosh, yes.
It's like they're still chewing. Like they need like a lot more time to chew and like bring this game to fruition to the potential it has. Like even the weapon system, there's just like millions of weapons you can pick up, and there's like not much of a focus. I'd rather there be less weapons and have like almost like a gunsmith style from Call of Duty style customization to your futuristic weapons, and like you can find like there's few and far between legendary weapons that you can deck out and stuff instead of just having like looter shooter style weapons.
There's only one weapon I've gotten thus far that actually feels unique. It's called Skippy. Have you picked it up?
Is that a little bullet guy? Yeah, I haven't picked him up yet.
Yeah, so there's a gun that has an AI in it, and it talks to you. and it like sings to you and stuff, and it was hilarious. Like when I picked that up early on in the game, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like I can't wait to find all these other crazy weapons. And no, that was a, you know, that was like a one-time deal, I guess, with, you know, of course I picked up a massive dildo bat called like Sir Placif.
Yeah, Saints Row did it first and probably did it better too.
Yeah, so I got that. That's funny, I guess. But everything else, even, you know, every other legendary weapon I'm picking up is just the same weapon, just maybe with a different skin or something. But yeah, it's
Man, I'd rather just play like New Vegas or something. I never played New Vegas.
Oh, dude, New Vegas is a much better RPG than this game. I would say it's a much better, like, in terms of like creating a character that you want to play as, or I mean, it's better than The Witcher 3. And I think that it makes more sense to me when I relate The Witcher 3 to this game. It feels more the same because, you know, The Witcher 3 was an extremely solid, amazing RPG, but it wasn't as like when you really think about it, it wasn't as crazy as we might have made it out to be originally, in terms of like how alive the world is, how your choices really affect anything. I mean, like what did your choices in The Witcher really do? There were some different endings, but there are different endings in this game. I just think
different story paths, I think, was the main thing.
Yeah, and there's different story paths in this game too. I know there's different endings. There's a different ending based on your relationship with Johnny. If your relationship is really good, there's a secret ending in this game. So all that stuff is still in this game. I just think the expectations people had, you know, for this game were just so incredibly sky high, and understandably so, because I mean this game was hyped like beyond belief, dude, and it it's in part CD Projekt Red's fault, because they hyped this game up. They said things were going to be in this game that are not in this game. They said that it would. The most disgusting part of all of this is that they said that this game ran surprisingly well on last gen consoles, and they said that in January, and then they completely stopped people from showing footage from the last gen consoles before you know the game was even out. I think that's the worst part of all of this, is just how extremely sketchy and shady that they become. They had all of this goodwill that they just completely flushed down the toilet. I
think this is severely worse than anything like EA or any other publisher that people have hated before. Like, this is infinitely worse.
I've never, at least those companies, they kind of like had a downward like trajectory that like it's like the reputation slowly deteriorated over time.
For EA, it's just always bad. It's never been good.
Yeah, it's like Bethesda.
They've never done anything like this.
Bethesda kind of had like a slippery slope down to like where they're hated now. You know, Fallout 4 was divisive, and then, you know, 76 came out, and the Creation Club, and et cetera, to where it kind of like got where it is now. But like CD Projekt Red's reputation has been seemingly just like, I don't want to say destroyed, but like severely negatively affected in a matter of a few days. I mean, they're on the freaking news, dude, about this game being pulled from PlayStation. Like there are op-eds on like BBC and stuff talking about this. Their stock, they lost like $1 billion or something over in Europe. They were the number one. They're the biggest gaming company in Europe stocks wise. And I think that's.
I think like their stock, like the money that they made this year from investors is just completely wiped out now.
Yeah,
which is just
it's like
devastating.
They became these, you know, these up and coming developers that just The Witcher 3 just made them absolutely massive. And once they became that massive, and once they, you know, became such a huge like publicly traded company and stuff, they I think their feet were kind of put to the fire for this game, and that's why it was released. Like, the developers knew this game wasn't ready. Like, obviously they knew it wasn't ready, but with this holiday season coming up, and for as much money that was invested in this game was forced out.
Yeah.
And I feel really bad for the developers because, you know, they worked their butt off on this game. And like you said, at the core
and
of it.
they're still working it off.
Yeah.
And probably will be for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the core of this game is good. Like, I know we're like kind of crapping on it, but this game is not bad. Like, you can have fun with this game. I've had fun with this game. Yeah, I'm disappointed in this game, but I'm still having fun. Like, the main story missions are really good. I didn't talk about it too much, but I've been playing mainly like stealthy, and I can play this game like an open world, you know, Deus Ex game, and I'm having, you know, fun doing so. Like, there is something really special at the core of this game, and I believe this game can become special and become good over time. And it's just a shame that just because of, you know, business practices, and I understand that's at the end of the day what this is, it was put in the position that it's in.
Yeah. I'm not typically one to like use words like this, but I think it really is like a cross between just ego and a level of greed, to where they're like, look, obviously there's a ton of hype. We have a crap ton of pre-orders. We know we're going to make a lot of money. We've delayed it too many times for the sake of investors and all the promotion costs and marketing. Like, let's put it out because it's Christmas and we know people are going to buy it, and we'll just deal with whatever the repercussions are. And it's so bad. They knew how bad it was on previous gen consoles, hid it from everyone, and then it releases, and like so many people.
It's just shocking. Sorry to interrupt you. It's shocking to me how they thought this game was going to come out at the beginning of the year. Like, and it's in this state now. Like, how many more delays could this have used?
Yeah, if anything, like this one silver lining is that people who just couldn't handle delays whatsoever, like this is finally a very clear representation of what happens if a game comes out before it's ready. Yeah. And hopefully this is the final straw that like scares other publishers into not releasing their games too early, because we've seen this happen with a number of games over the last few years. Not to this extent, but many games have come out, just whether they're half broken or just have a lot of bugs. Like, that can't be a thing anymore. Like, I understand that games like have to be marketed, and like there's investors and there's a lot at stake with releasing games and developing games, but there's got to be a new system, like similar to how Fallout 4 was announced and came out 6 months later. And I know Fallout 4 had some issues, but if more games could just hold off to announcing anything until it's like at most a year to release, like all this like games that are announced 3 years, 5 years, in this case like 8 years before it comes out, it's just too much. Like, that's got to change.
Yeah, I don't mind the original like teaser of this game. It's just like, hey, we're working on 2077. Like, cool, man. And like, I don't necessarily think that, you know, never mind. What I was going to say, I don't even agree with. But yeah, I don't have a problem with them announcing this game. But yeah, they continuously like showed it off, you know, time and time again. And it's just like, you have to know, like, even when when they announced Keanu and like all this stuff and announced the original release date of April, it had to have been clear to the developers that was a long shot. That's what's crazy to me, is that you know, it was delayed as many times as it was, because there's no way they knew that it was going to hit any of those dates. And like we said, it shouldn't have hit this date. This I don't develop games, but like looking at this and just, you know, gauging just off of like just my thoughts, I guess, that, you know, are not founded in any game development whatsoever. I mean, this game looks like it needed another year at least.
Yeah. Yeah, it's certainly disappointing. Yeah, like I said though, that like, just to bring it back around to something positive, like I think the world overall, like it's aesthetic, maybe not just necessarily how it interacts with you, but just how it like to play in the world, like in Night City. Like, I really do like the city. I think it's really unique. Like, I don't know. I just love the cyberpunk universe in the sense where, you know, you're going to your rip doctor, you're getting these new upgrades every so often when you can afford them. And then just like the loop of trying to find like new, more powerful weapons that do new, unique things, I think is really compelling to me. But in terms of like overall in the story, like I've I've barely scratched the surface, I feel like, and like I've barely met any of these characters that you're talking about. So it's just like I'm going to keep playing because I'm still having a lot of fun, and like I've heard from many different people that the highlight of this game is all the people that you meet along the way and the sort of the unique branches that those take you on, just depending if you want to see them out or not. So that's sort of where I'm at with the game. But it certainly does have its problems.
Yeah. Same for me. I think the most fun I've had is just interacting with characters. In terms of like the design of the city, it is really cool. I love how the city is just like eating itself, basically, because you can be in an alleyway and like buildings are not just towering over you, but there's like buildings stacked on top of each other and like all these bridges, and like there's a lot of beautiful environments you kind of explore. Like we've said 100 times now, it's just a shame you can't really interact with the world too much. But
I love the music, dude, like, by the way.
Like the gameplay just hasn't grabbed me, and that's why I'm tempted to just wait and play something else until I can upgrade my GPU. Because then not only will I've had more time to cook, but I can also enjoy it more beautifully with better fidelity and higher details and greater crowd density at the very least. But that's the problem for me, is that even the gameplay I have played, which again, like some of the shootouts have been fine, but nothing has just blown me away yet. And I don't want to have like too high of expectations of a game. Like I didn't go into it thinking like this is going to be a revolutionary first-person shooter, but it just hasn't really just grabbed me at all. I don't know why. And like story is I appreciate a great story in a game. Like, not to dwell on Last of Us, but Last of Us is like a great example of an incredible story that definitely kept me engaged throughout. But even though the gameplay wasn't remotely revolutionary, like it was great enough for me to continue playing and not be bored by it. But this game just has not done anything that's really grabbed me.
I don't know if this is, and I don't even know if I'm going to correctly explain this. So try and bear with me here as I try and, try and make this understandable. But a lot of things gameplay wise that resonate with me have to do with animations. If something feels and looks satisfying to me, like when I'm playing The Last of Us, for instance, yes, nothing is being really pushed gameplay wise, like nothing's breaking the boundaries, but sneaking in The Last of Us and coming up behind an enemy and stabbing them in the neck or like beating them with a baseball bat. Yes, I'm just pushing square and dodging and stuff, but the impact is animated so well that it's almost like I can forgive it not being revolutionary because it feels satisfying to take somebody out, and it looks so good. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes a lot of
sense.
It
makes me sound like a
melee so far. With a samurai sword in particular.
What's that?
Or a katana, I should say. I think the melee stuff I've done with the katana is the most fun I've had with combat.
Yeah, that stuff is fun. I always have a katana on me, and I like to make people go blind. I turn off their optics so I can just run up and hack them to death. But what I'm trying to say without sounding like a psychopath is like I like seeing really well done, like gruesome animations. Like it feels satisfying to me, and I think that is extremely important, especially in a game where you want to play stealthy, because the stealth takedown animations are so important. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but if this game just did those better, I feel like I would be having a lot more fun. And I know that might sound stupid, but when I go up behind an enemy and I grab them by the neck and their collar of their shirt is like clipping through their actual neck, and when I choke them out, they're not even in my arms, like they're clipping through my arms and just fall on the ground, or when I throw them in like a bin or a wardrobe or something, it just looks so ridiculous. That right there takes me out. And whereas with a Deus Ex, yes, the screen cuts to black, but at least I watch a cool cutscene where I just absolutely lay a guy out with like the most insane punch in the face ever. Like that's satisfying to me, and it makes the act of taking down people funner because of like the cool animation. And I think that's what's lacking a lot in this game is that, because even like when you know cut somebody's head off with a katana, it's a ridiculous looking animation. It's not animated well. Anytime you kill I've killed so many people where like their legs just shoot up straight in the air. Like I did this one assassination mission where I successfully snuck into this woman's penthouse, and it was one of the funnest side missions I'd done. Like I'd snuck past everybody. I was turning off all these cameras. I went to the roof. I found an entrance into her room through a skylight. I went down there. I talked to her, and she was like, please, like, I was doing these bad things for the good of humanity. Will you at least let me save my progress before you kill me? And I was like, sure. So I let her walk over to the computer. And like I said, all this was really cool. And she walked over there, and as she saved her stuff, she turned around and started going, guards, help me. And I grabbed her and I snapped her neck, and then she hit the floor and her legs just shot straight up in the air. And it was like I did all this cool stuff to get to her, and then like I said, that immersion that I had was just completely shattered right there because the animation I did to kill her just looked awful. And you know, games that do that well, like Dishonored, like doing takedowns in that game and stuff, it just looks awesome. It makes you feel good. Like Splinter Cell Blacklist, like when you're running through like taking down dudes, like that's satisfying. It looks cool. That's not in this game. And again, that's like extremely, I don't know if I'm really explaining myself correctly. That stuff doesn't really affect the gameplay more. It's just more satisfying. It's just more satisfying to me. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But,
I understand completely. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else I have to say. I do want to clarify, like, I don't hate the game at all. Nothing's really blown me away yet, aside from just really enjoying the characters and writing. So that's kind of where I'm at. I keep having to convince myself to play it. I'd rather almost jump into Persona 5 Royal after Preston's great pitch and play that until I can get a new GPU.
That would be
because I'm in the mood for
miracle.
a great RPG, and this one's not doing it for me.
Yeah,
right
taking a break from this game right now is probably like, you know, it's a good idea. You know, they're putting out 2 massive updates in January and February. You know, this is not a must play game right now. I don't think really, you know, anything story. I've been reading so much stuff online, and like I wouldn't worry about spoilers because that's the last thing people are talking about right now is the actual game itself. Like nobody's talking about anything like story.
That's how you know the release is not going well.
Yeah, it's just all about it's memes and how bad the game's running. That's like that's all this game is. But yeah, if I can convince somebody to pick up Royal to play over this game, or if you're, you know, weighing those 2 options, I would definitely pick Royal over this game. For sure.
I also have Control on my list. I have a giant list of games I want to play, but for some reason I want to try Control because I haven't played it, and I know that Ultimate Edition's coming out.
Yeah, Control's fun.
Well, you said you're playing Metal Gear right now, right?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I literally just started. I'm only on the first mission, so.
I recommend you keep pushing through that.
Oh, I certainly will. We'll see if I'm going to definitely buy Persona since it's $30 right now, but whether I start it or not is yet to be determined.
I'm playing with the idea of starting Demon Souls instead of playing Cyberpunk right now.
Oh, dude, Demon Souls is so awesome. It's so good. It'll definitely piss you off here and there, but it's really good.
I need to be kicked in the ass.
Dude, Persona 5 Royal has a 95 on Metacritic.
Ooh, that's high.
That's a high score right there.
That's so high. What does Cyberpunk have? Isn't it like a 50 or something?
It started at 90. I think it's at like 87 right now.
On PC. I saw like an image of it being at 50.
That's user score.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, user score is you know, obviously horrendous right now.
Yeah.
For anything around that game.
Man, I didn't expect this conversation to go this way. Like, before the game came out, I thought we'd all be here sitting here raving about it, how much we love it, but it certainly has taken a sour note.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah, Garrett.
I mean,
check
a
it
year
out.
from now, we may be talking about it in the way that we love it.
Maybe.
Yeah, definitely gonna snag that.
Yeah.
While that deal's going on.
$29.99 at Best Buy right now.
PS5 update?
No, but it runs fine.
It probably doesn't need
the
it.
game is just so sexy. Like it's everything in the game just looks good. This is just from even the original. Just like every time you go into the menu and stuff, it's just like the game just oozes coolness. It's just so good looking, and the music, dude. The palace.
I simply just want to see it again.
The final palace music is so freaking good that I've been listening to it like nonstop, even after I'm not playing it anymore. So
it might have the best music in any game ever.
It's good. It's really good. I'm gonna stop talking about it now. It's like Cyberpunk comes out, all I'm talking about is Persona.
Yeah, we gotta have some sort of positivity in here.
Yeah,
I did play Black Ops Cold War, or I guess Warzone technically, the merge with Black Ops where they added that new mode called Resurgence Trios in Warzone. I came in second one match, really close to winning, but it's really pretty cool because it's like Warzone but on a significantly smaller map, so it's instant action packed the entire time. It just feels like a standard multiplayer match because it's such close quarters, but it's Warzone, so yeah, there's hardly any downtime in the mode, and it's pretty interesting because there's no gulag in this mode, but you can respawn if your squad mates survive for 30 seconds. So if you get killed and your buddy lives for 30 seconds, you just drop back in.
Interesting.
And it's like that through the end. So it's pretty cool.
Isn't the new map a remaster of Blackout's map?
It is not.
It's not? Huh.
So I thought that little island.
I thought that they remastered the old, what's it called? Battle Royale map that was in, what Call of Duty was it? Black Ops 4, I guess. Whichever one that had the first Battle Royale. I thought they remade that.
No.
Maybe I'm wrong, though.
Not that I know of, but I haven't played on it if they have.
But didn't they add a bunch of new guns and stuff from Cold War?
Yeah.
Did
something else?
Either of y'all ever play the campaign of that game?
No, I'm not gonna.
I tried to. I stopped playing.
Really?
I uninstalled the game actually.
Wow.
To make room for Cyberpunk.
I thought the campaign was great.
Yeah, I mean it was fun. It wasn't keeping my attention enough to keep playing.
I've seen some clips from I watched some of Stealth Gamer stuff, and I could tell it looks pretty fun, especially with Woods and the way
it's very fun
act in the game.
The story's really good too.
I don't know. I'm kind of at a weird place with single player games right now.
It's not long either. It was took me 5 hours to beat it.
It seemed really long to me because all these different little missions, even if they were just side missions.
It is very. There's only 2 side missions in the entire game.
I think it's just because I'm not in much of a shooter mood right now. I think that's my problem.
Yeah, the game gives you the illusion of it being huge because there are there's these 2 side missions that you have to solve a puzzle to do correctly, and it just kind of gives you the illusion
I did
that
one of those.
There's more, but no, there's literally only 2. So
it's fun.
I'd rather play through it on PC, but I have it on PS5 right now. So I'd like to play it just because those triggers do feel awesome when you're shooting guns. So maybe I'll play through it just to enjoy the triggers.
Yeah.
Wow, playing a shooter on console. Ew.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, when the controller feels that good, man, I'll play it.
Cringe.
Oh man. Yeah, I haven't really touched my PS5 in a while besides playing Persona. I dabbled a little bit in the 60 FPS ray tracing mode with Spider-Man. Garrett, did you try that out?
I did try it out.
Dude, looks great.
It does.
The resolution doesn't even look any different to me than the quality.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
It's insane.
It is really awesome.
Yeah.
I did go back and play a bit of Spider-Man Remastered, and I didn't realize how stiff the web swinging feels in that compared to Miles Morales. I was like, holy crap, it's an entirely different world going back and forth like that.
Yeah. Combat is better with Miles.
Yeah, they refined the crap out of or just all the mechanics in Miles Morales compared to Remastered.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for the sequel.
Oh, yeah.
I did Platinum Miles Morales.
Congrats.
I got the Platinum and Remastered just from porting my save over.
Yeah.
So
I wish I would have done that.
And I started playing Astrobot again last night, and I'm just blown away by how that controller feels, dude. Like, holy crap. It just goes to show that the games that have come out on PS5 so far have not, I mean, they've taken advantage of the controller, but like nothing compared to what it can do. And you see that in Astrobot or experience that in Astrobot. So I really hope developers take full advantage of that going forward.
Dude, at least finish Astrobot.
I totally will.
The ending is really awesome.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's a very joyful experience. So I'm going to keep playing.
It's really great. That's definitely got to be the best pack-in game ever. That and Wii Sports are tied, in my opinion. Man, I'm trying to think what else I've been playing, if anything. Just to bring up Royal one more time. Also, another thing to sell anybody on is pretty easy platinum if you just kind of are on the lookout for everything. I just have 2 more trophies, and it's to watch the ending of the game and to beat the final palace.
Wow.
So that's also a plus.
Was it hard to sort of do the trophies as you were playing through the whole game?
Nope.
No?
Probably
just like a checklist or something?
No, I just honestly played the game. Like, it's probably the hardest ones are to max out all your social stats.
Yeah.
But
because you have to be sort of efficient, right? Like with who you spent time with.
Well, that's not even in a trophy in this game.
Really?
Maxing, yeah. Whereas in the original, you had to max out all your confidants. That's not in this game. It's a completely different trophy list. You only have to max out 1, but 2, I think 2 or 3 max out to 10 automatically just throughout the game. So don't have to worry about that. Getting your social stats up, because there's an entire new semester. There's ample time to get that up if you're just paying attention to it. You don't have to be like a secret boss in this version. It's just a much easier trophy list overall. Whereas, the original, I literally had a Google Docs sheet out, going through everything to get that one. It was a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, Days Gone. I've been playing a little more of that game as well. It just runs so much freaking better on PS5 than PS4 that it is actually fun to play now. So that is I do think that in time people are going to look back on that game and think it was severely underrated. And from what I've played thus far, just playing it on a system that can really play it effectively, it just makes it just so much of a more like enjoyable experience. So I am slowly picking away at that game as well. So
very nice. What about Demon Souls? You been picking up that at all?
That game is so hard to get into based on how I'm playing things right now. I jump back and forth between things.
Oh, I know.
Whereas every time I jump into that game, I have to like become reaccustomed to it again. Yeah. But I am going to sit down and beat that game at some point. It is going to happen.
What? One more question. What about that Zelda game on the Switch?
Oh, Age of Calamity.
Yeah.
Same thing. I've done all the side missions and stuff to the point that I'm at that I have to progress the story. And as of now, every time I want to sit down and do something story related, it's been Cyberpunk or Persona. Yeah. Whereas that was a great podcast game for a time because I could just knock out a bunch of side quests and stuff and listen to something. But like I said, when I want to dedicate myself to being completely focused on a game, taking the story, advance something, it's either been Persona or Cyberpunk at this time. So
I hear that.
But
so have you finished Cyberpunk? Like, have you finished the main story?
No.
Oh, no? Okay.
That is one thing I can say is that there is a crap ton of content in Cyberpunk. Like I said, I've been playing for 70 hours, and I still feel like I'm not really. I feel like I'm halfway done with the main story, maybe. I've just been doing just a ton of side missions.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's good though. Like I like games that you don't just want to mainline through. Well, that's just how I play games in general. But
yeah,
like if you can, like if a game can achieve the goal of like getting people to experience like content that's not necessary, I think that's an accomplishment.
I think Cyberpunk does do that well because it introduces these characters in the main narrative, and they will text you or call you after you've met them, and they'll ask for your help, and you'll kind of go off on a whole side quest chain with them that's completely independent of the of the main story, kind of fleshing out their backstory and diving into what they're doing and the problems that that they're having. So
and I do also one small thing before we move on. I enjoy the character selecting what you want to say with the dialogue, even though if it doesn't do a whole lot, I don't know. It kind of feels. I don't know. I like games that allow you to do that. I think it makes it feel a little more personal. So I enjoy that.
I love the meme that's going around where there's two choice options, and one is like, please help Johnny, and the other one is like, just help Johnny. They're like the exact same thing. This one has please in it.
Yeah.
So that's all really I have to say. Unless, speaking of CD Projekt Red, I don't know if this is in any of the new stuff, but did y'all hear about the Devotion? I believe that's what the game is called. Little scandal with CD Projekt.
Yeah, with GOG.
Yeah, it's just like, man, they cannot catch a break.
Not doing too hot. They're making the same mistake that Blizzard made with all the China stuff.
Yeah. Did you hear about that at all?
Hear about what?
GOG with Devotion, the horror game.
No.
Just a quick backstory to it. There is this Chinese horror game that apparently is very good, but they made a joke at, I believe, the Prime Minister of China or something. There's like a whole thing where they there's like a meme or something where they put his face on Winnie the Pooh, and it's like a big deal over there, and that was in the game, so it got like delisted everywhere over in China. So you literally can't buy the game anymore, and GOG was going to put it on their store like 2 days ago, and people were excited about it, like, oh, finally, like I can play this game. And then like within 2 hours they put out this tweet saying that we've heard from a lot of gamers and have decided that it is not in our best interest to put the game up anymore. So they completely pulled a 180 on their decision, and of course they're just being like bombarded, like Jacob just said, being like Blizzard just like caving to Chinese, not actual gamers money, but like Chinese money and stuff. So yeah, just with that happening on top of the whole Cyberpunk thing, it's just like, man, what's gonna happen next?
Like they've had such a bad week. It's insane.
Yeah,
I don't know if it could have gone any worse.
Yeah, I mean, we're not even talking about it like this game being delisted from PlayStation. Like that's unreal.
We haven't even mentioned that. Yeah,
that's unreal. It's almost like Sony was just like, once they came out and were just like, hey, just ask for a refund. Sony was like, all right, well, F you. We're just gonna take your game completely off our storefront.
Well, probably what happened is that their customer service got bombarded by all these requests for refunds that they just had enough.
Yeah,
I'm sure Xbox had the same thing.
I forget where I read it, but in one of their conference calls they had with investors, they came out and said something along the lines of Sony and Microsoft expected them to have things ironed out. So they were pretty much alluding to the fact that Sony and Microsoft kind of like cleared them to release these games like I said, assuming they would fix them, which apparently is a common thing that they do with these big publishers, but you're not really supposed to talk about it. And with CD Projekt Red actually putting that out there, I don't think Microsoft and Sony were too thrilled with them actually like saying that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's just a mess.
It is a mess.
It's kind of sad to see, but hype once again lets us down.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just like people need to I think people need to, no matter what, keep any game you're excited for. You need to kind of keep your expectations down, because it's like Cyberpunk. The signs were there, but they had the footage they had put out looked so good. The Night City Wire things they put out looked so good. The things they were saying sounded so good. Their reputation was so good, and this just proves that even with all of that stuff, you have to temper your expectations, and it's only good can come from it, because if the game's better, then that's exciting, to play something that exceeded those expectations. And if not, you didn't set yourself up to be disappointed. So of course that's easier said than done. Everybody gets caught up in the hype, but thankfully I wasn't. I wasn't, and I think you're about to say this too. I wasn't like pooping my pants for this game. Surprisingly,
I wasn't. Either,
same. I couldn't play it for 3 days after it launched. I was out of town, and like the whole time I was gone, I was like, whatever.
Yeah,
I'll play it when I get back. I don't know why I felt that way. I think it was just a part of me that just had a feeling that not that I didn't expect, like I wanted to be great, and there are aspects of it that are great, but there's some part of me that just kind of knew it wasn't going to be all it was chopped up to be. But that's what's a complicated situation, is that there have been a handful of games over the last several years that have not only just lived up to my hype, but exceeded it. Like Resident Evil 2's remake, not that I'd played the original, I just had like really high hopes for that, and that like more than delivered. Spider-Man PS4 more than delivered. And the last like major one in my lifetime that like really exceeded my expectations at the time. I know it's like a big meme now, but like Skyrim, when it first came out, blew my mind.
Yeah.
So it's only happened a handful of times, but there are those cases where the hype does not only do games live up to the hype, but they exceed it. This is just not one of those cases, unfortunately. But I'd love to be able to say in a year's time that this game does meet those expectations, certainly. And not to say like it needs to meet my expectations. I just think the expectations that they set for their fans based on the hype that they themselves generated. So
I feel like it's so hard to like control that too, though, because like as a company, you want to promote the crap out of your game, and you want to get people so excited that they want to pre-order. And it's just like two conflicting ideas. Like, because like saying you don't want to hype people up is like saying you don't want to make as much money. So like, how do companies combat that? Is an interesting conundrum, and I don't really know the answer to that. But yeah, this game certainly fell victim to hype, but it's just weird. Like I don't know why. I guess we'll never know why exactly they had to release it now. I mean, it could have been like the Christmas sales. It could have been investors, money. Well, probably money. Yeah,
that's the answer. It's money.
But it's just like I wish they could have pushed it back like so badly. Even just for my sake, because I'm just busy with other things right now.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
It is.
Good. Are we talking about the Game Awards today?
Yeah, we can talk about the results.
We don't have to if you don't want to.
Yeah, we can touch on the Game Awards a bit, just kind of reflect on
dude. How about
stuff we predicted?
Sephiroth and Smash, dude. That's pretty cool.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a confession.
What, Jacob?
I didn't even watch the show.
How dare you?
Yep,
I watched it. I was out of town.
Didn't even want to.
I was like, I
was quarantined in my room, so I had nothing else to do. So.
Yeah, I think we could do less with. I was thinking this, and someone tweeted it. I can't remember who it was, but I think we could do less with the celebrity appearances announcing games.
I guess
like
it's fun.
Keanu's cool because he's in a game, and like some of the people, like I think it'd be cooler if developers announce them or like studio heads announce them versus like oh, Christopher Nolan, whoa, cool. Like, not that they didn't do a good job. I just think it should be more game related. I feel like. And I think I thought it was a good show considering everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. Most of the awards, most of the people that won, I felt like were totally warranted. I feel like Valkyrae only won Best Content Creator just because she's attractive. I know this sounds very shallow, but I after she won, I was like, who is this person? So I looked up her content. She looked like any other just random pretty Twitch streamer. I'm like, is that why she won?
She's pretty popular.
But why though? It's like, what does she do that's unique compared to every other female streamer?
She's one of, if not the biggest female like streamer right now.
But why? Is it just because she's attractive?
That has a lot to do with it, yeah. but that's just like being a woman.
That's
on the
what
internet
bothers
thing.
me is that like that's why I was so convinced Alana deserves to win. Is because her content really is pretty special for the most part. I mean, it's not like anything
she's
revolutionary,
too,
but yeah, but like that's not like looks aside. I'm like her content. I feel like stands above and beyond anything I've seen from Valkyrae and like the small amount of research I did on what she does. I'm like, who's voting for these people?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. It's weird because like the Among Us like directory of people that watch that content is huge. Like people love watching people, like especially other streamers play with each other. Like they love watching that. So just in that regard, she's one of the biggest, especially on YouTube, which she used to be on Twitch and she left to sign with YouTube for a big money contract. And she's like huge on YouTube. So like I don't personally watch her, but I know like people really like her. And yeah, maybe being attractive certainly helps her. Like there's another big female streamer called Pokimane who's even bigger than she is, Valkyrae. So, but she's still on Twitch and she does the same thing. I mean, she just plays games. She talks to her chat. Like it's just kind of what streaming is, you know. I don't know if they're necessarily doing anything groundbreaking. Maybe Alana certainly creates more unique content. I could probably agree with you on that, even though I don't watch Alana. But yeah, that's sort of just how people are consuming content right now. They're just watching streamers play with other streamers and watching that interaction. People really seem to like it.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with anyone being attractive while streaming. I'm just like I'm more concerned about the content. I'm like, yeah. What is, like, for example, what does Valkyrae do that's different from what Pokimane does?
Nothing.
They're like the same.
She's a part of an organization.
Is it 100 Thieves?
Yeah, 100 Thieves.
Okay. Man, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
I don't care that much. I was just like,
streamer do different than any streamer.
That's like the one award that surprised me when she won. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. I'm not surprised that Last of Us wiped the floor with everything.
Yeah, they
which
really
I do believe it, for the most part, deserved. I think it won action adventure as well, which kind of surprised me. I mean, it is definitely an action adventure game in many aspects. There's some great set pieces, but that one kind of surprised me a little bit. But Game of the Year didn't surprise me. Best Direction didn't surprise me.
How many awards did The Last of Us win?
I think like 5 or 6, maybe. Quite a lot.
That's a sweep.
Mm-hmm.
I completely jinxed The Last of Us when I said that it was winning the fan vote, because it was the last podcast, but like the next day it just got bombarded by Ghost of Tsushima votes.
Yeah, I think like Ghost of Tsushima is awesome. I love that game. I'm actually thinking about playing it some more, like a New Game Plus on PS5, because I know it has like a really strong performance mode.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like the vast majority of haters. How does the fan vote work? Do you just like submit it through an email or something? Do you like sign up to submit a vote?
I think you just have to sign up and submit a vote.
Okay, because people hate Last of Us so much that I wouldn't put it past anyone to like gather everyone.
Oh no, dude! It was
to vote just to make sure Last of Us wouldn't win.
There was a massive 4chan like army that like was calling people to
and and I think it's a situation too where people were pissed that Last of Us actually won Game of the Year, and they're like, yeah, well, the players voted that Tsushima should have won. Like, it won the popular vote, so players are what matter. And like, I get that, but like, it won because people hate Last of Us so much.
Yeah, but then also on the other hand, the Last of Us won the Game of the Year for the Golden Joystick, which is fan voted. It also won the Game of the Year for the PlayStation Blog Game of the Year, which is fan voted. And then it also won. What was the other fan? There was another fan voted one that it won as well. So it's like it's this like false perception that like everybody hates The Last of Us 2 is just not true. I don't think. I think The Last of Us 1 was just so popular. Like I said, that and that's the thing. I have no problem with Ghost of Tsushima. Like if you like the if you think Ghost of Tsushima is Game of the Year, that is a 100% like understandable argument. Ghost of Tsushima kicks ass. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Like so, I'm not like it winning any awards at all is like completely well deserved. It's a fantastic game. But like you said, I do think that people just like, because it's not The Last of Us, people just hopped on that game like so hard and were so mad when it didn't win, some awards that The Last of Us won. Mm-hmm. Which at the end of the day, like who freaking cares? Honestly,
I know. And I was thinking about this too. When people were like, "Oh, the Game Awards are rigged." Like Naughty Dog paid Jeff Keighley. I'm like, guys, why does it even matter that it won Game of the Year? It does nothing for them. I mean, if it was some smaller studio that wins Game of the Year, I mean, I guess they could like put that somewhere. Like, look, we won Game of the Year, so we're going to make great games. Like, invest in us or something. I don't know, but like Naughty Dog doesn't need the recognition.
Yeah,
they don't need the award. Like, they're going to succeed and do great stuff regardless of whether they win. So it really doesn't matter. It's just cool to see games like get recognition. I understand that. Like that's why I enjoy the Game Awards, to see like what's recognized and how people are feeling about particular games and certain aspects of them. But at the end of the day, like the awards don't matter. I mean, it's different for the Oscars. Like if some smaller actor wins an Oscar, they're set for life. Like they're going to get work for the rest of their life. But I feel like with game studios, whether they win or not, doesn't really matter. So it does nothing for them because it doesn't help that Troy Baker it's entire organizations, entire studios that we're talking about versus like sole individuals that win awards. So it's different if it's like a streamer, like obviously Valkyrie winning that. I had never heard of her until she was nominated. So when it's like individual people winning awards, I feel like that does matter because she has probably even more recognition that she didn't already have because I'd never even heard of her. And like stream coaches or stream teams, I feel like those make a pretty significant difference. But the big overall organizational type awards, like a studio winning for Game of the Year or Best Action Game, doesn't matter a whole lot.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
If anything, maybe smaller. Not that it's smaller, but Hades. I hadn't really heard of Hades until it was nominated for stuff. So I feel like nominations matter even more than the awards. So
yeah, that's a good point actually. Because I think people are more likely to try games that are nominated for awards than rather something that's not, especially around this time of the year.
For sure. I do have a giant list of games I want to play. And meanwhile, I'm playing Metal Gear Solid. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Really enjoying it so far. But
it surprised me. I mean, it surprised me and it doesn't surprise me because I know you love
I think it was a cross
games.
Between I was in the mood for some reason, like a stealthy type game. And just the rumor that Bluepoint may be remaking the original. I was like, man, because I really love what I've played. I think I've sort of finished Metal Gear Solid 5. Like I know I rolled credits, but there's something I've missed from it apparently. But I enjoyed Metal Gear Solid 5 so much. I kind of want to go back and play as many of these as I can.
Credits.
Exactly. So, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we're kind of overlooking?
What about the new Mass Effect being revealed?
Oh, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
We'll see BioWare. Good luck.
They showed some Dragon Age.
Dude,
didn't they?
I just can't with that stuff anymore. It that all comes back to exactly what we were saying about just shut up. Until
just make the game and like when we're 6 months to a year out, show us something.
Like how dare you? That is like the third time we've seen Dragon Age and it showed nothing. They should it's like
just quit
here, and they hyped it up too. They were like, we're gonna do something for Dragon Age. Like, oh, you're talking about it, so it must be something. No, it's just a trailer that does nothing. Like, well, thanks BioWare. And then they're like, oh, well, on top of that, here's a trailer that also does nothing for Mass Effect.
We're gonna retread old ground just because we effed up so bad with Andromeda.
Yeah, like,
get excited.
Look,
it's probably 5 to 6 years out.
Here's Liara. Ooh, you remember her?
Cool.
Yeah, I'm so hyped now. Take my money.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I definitely want to play Mass Effect 2 from the, what is it called? Legend version or Legacy version?
Yeah, something trilogy. Like that.
I'd love to play Mass Effect 2 again on PC.
Yeah. I recently just played Mass Effect 2. That game's freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob,
Please play it, Jacob.
Yes, you have to at least play 2.
I will play 2 when it's remastered.
It's so good.
So awesome.
Holds up extremely well.
I'll just jam the Mass Effect soundtrack from time to time too because it's so good.
Dude, shout out to FF7 winning best soundtrack. That made me so happy.
Yeah,
I know we were just talking about awards don't matter, but that one made me happy that it won.
Yeah, it didn't surprise me it won. It definitely deserves it.
Dude, rest in peace to my collector's edition soundtrack that never came from Amazon. Speaking of things that never come from Amazon.
I would give anything to whether I just have to outright buy it or I wish I could download it so bad on Apple Music or Spotify. Just as a shame it's not available.
Dude, that's it. I don't get why it's not available. It's like not available in this country.
I know. Like what's the deal?
If it's not available in America, does it even exist? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal with that? Dude, Persona 5's soundtrack is nowhere. It got completely...
You can only hear it on YouTube.
It got delisted. It used to be on Apple Music, and it's gone now. That's crazy. A travesty. An absolute
Doom
travesty.
Eternal is probably never coming either because of the debacle with Mick Gordon, so...
At least I have Persona 5's soundtrack, the entire thing on CD, but it's like, I don't have a CD player. Where am I going to even, like... How do I get that on my computer? There's no way to even get it on there.
Dude, I better be sick. I'm not like one of those guys like, dude, you want to listen to some records? But if I had a vinyl player, like have Persona 5 on vinyl, would be kind of cool.
Oh my gosh. The Persona 5 Royal vinyl just got put up for pre-order the other day, and it's like $80. And I'm just like, I can't, but I want it so bad.
Yeah.
That I just can't, but I must.
But I didn't, but it killed me because I like I said, I want it so bad. I have a record player as well, so I could have actually used it, but I cannot drop $80 on something that I'm never going to use, really.
That is one of my favorite moments ever from The Office when Michael Scott's doing the impressions of people who are in the office, and they're just, I mean, all of them are like relatively accurate, but Jim's is just so off. It's like nothing like him at all. So funny.
What's that have to do with what we were saying?
The record player. Because it cuts to him like with a wig on like Jim, and he's like, "Hey, you guys want to like listen to some records?" Yeah. And Jim's like so confused by that. Like, when have I ever given off that vibe?
Yeah, I'm sad that show's leaving Netflix.
It's had a great run though. Like, I get they can't keep it forever, but yeah, it is.
And now it's going to
like
some
always
irrelevant
trending too.
site.
It's like never not trending.
I don't even know where it's going anymore. I'm not going to be paying for it though.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be something we're forgetting. I feel like we're really forgetting about something.
Like a story or something at the Game Awards?
I mean, we could touch on, is there anything else from the Game Awards we're overlooking? I don't think so. I thought the montage, I think it was at the end for Game of the Year, the montage they put together was pretty amazing.
Yes.
Like when they blend all the music and the visuals, I thought that was sick.
I really enjoyed the promotional trailer where they used a song from Linkin Park. That was cool. It's My December.
Which I'm trying to remember what that was. I remember hearing Linkin Park.
My December. It's a bonus track off their first album.
Okay, what was the game?
What do you mean? It was a trailer. Like it was all the games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was the orchestral thing they did? Like,
yeah, it was like a promotional trailer for the award show. It wasn't like a game.
Press, you remember what the orchestra played toward the beginning of the show? I can't remember what it was for.
They played. Holy crap! What did they play? Was it a Mario mix?
Yeah, I thought they played some
Mario.
Mario.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it was Mario.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
Oh, dude, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, when they went into the Galaxy theme, I was like, ooh, give me chills.
Dude, I knew as soon as they started playing Jump Up Superstar, dude, I could feel it in my heart again. That song just gets me for some reason. Yeah, that was really beautiful. I was thinking that too. I guess we can jump into this for a second, but Miyamoto's tour of Nintendo World in Japan, Super Nintendo World,
yeah,
that looks so awesome and like just so joyful to be in. Like, I would love to visit that one day.
Man, that would be just an incredible trip. Not just
and I was thinking, like, dude, let's just
Japan,
let's just take a trip to Japan, like when things blow over with COVID, like hopefully like midway through next year. Let's just go. Like, what's stopping us, honestly?
Money.
Like, I know the price of plane tickets is pretty intense, but there's got to be a way to get there.
When are we even going to be able to leave the country again?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. We'll see if this vaccine is as effective as they claim it is, and hopefully Americans will be allowed to explore the world.
Dude,
again.
Did you see that video of the lady that took it and fainted within like 5 seconds?
No.
Yeah, they were literally interviewing this woman who had just taken the vaccine. She was like at a podium and everything, and she just fainted on the spot.
Oh, God.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I knew it.
Of course, not saying that has any relation to that. It just definitely is funny.
Man, that'd be such a fun trip. Just go to Japan for like, man, if you're traveling across the planet, you got to go for at least 10 days minimum.
Man.
Preferably 2 weeks. But if you're traveling across the planet, you may as well stay for at least 2 weeks.
It's a long time.
Yeah. So that way you can, get rid of the jet lag and actually explore and like enjoy that part of the world instead of like being there for like a couple of days. Like, oh, that was fun. You're like sleep deprived the entire time and then fly back.
Yeah.
So you got to go for at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
Let's keep that in the back of our minds.
Sounds good.
Maybe at the forefront. Excited about the potential of that. Yeah, I think that's. What'd you guys feel? How'd you feel about what's his name's performance of "Future Days" from Pearl Jam? I think I prefer Joel's version, honestly. I understand the guy's a legend and he wrote the song, but not a big fan of the man's voice. I think that's why I've never been a Pearl Jam fan.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I didn't see the performance, so my thoughts are null and void.
Mm-hmm. Cool of him to do it, though. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
I think I'd rather hear.
It was a little awkward at the end when he finished, and then he just like kind of talked for a while.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Have Future Days and video game Last of Us Part 2. It's a great honor.
Yeah, I liked that part a lot.
Yeah, it was great show. Great show. I saw the poll earlier this morning on Twitter at Game Awards. It was like, what'd you enjoy most about the show? And the options were game announcements, awards, and then like something else. And of course, game announcements are like won in a landslide. I'm like, I hope this Jeff doesn't take that to heart and think like, we just need to make this into the new E3. Like, forget the awards. It's all going to be just an announcement show. Like, the announcements are cool, but I am genuinely interested in like the nominations and what wins in the sense of just seeing what people vote for.
If I'm going to be honest, I honestly tune in for the game announcements. It's like
really?
Yeah.
I actually am more interested in the conversation about the awards and the nominations.
The
announcements are great, but we have like announcements all year from like other publishers and stuff. So
it's just like having an actual show that, what's fun about shows like that is just the potential, because like anything can happen. Like, for all you know, like they're gonna show gameplay footage of freaking the Elder Scrolls 6 like within the next 30 minutes. You just like have you can hype yourself up to the absolute max, obviously to be let down, but man, for those 2 hours you're just like hyped out of your mind, because anything can happen on that stage.
Yeah, the only announcement I actually remember literally is the Way Out guy's new game.
Yeah.
It Takes Two. That's the only announcement I remember.
We just Dragon Age, Mass Effect. Dude, what about Arc 2 with Vin Diesel?
Yeah, that's pretty sick, dude.
Wait, was Vin Diesel there?
No.
He's in the game, and apparently he's part of the studio now, too, as like a producer.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Dude, that trailer, holy crap. That was something. Jacob, if you haven't seen that, you need to watch it. It is something.
It's a treat.
Something else. Then Sephiroth to Smash. I thought that was a cool trailer.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest announcement.
Yeah.
It's like the entirety of Final Fantasy's legacy is in Smash at this point.
Yeah, 2 characters.
Is Sephiroth the biggest character from Final Fantasy? Like, is he the most known?
Who?
Besides Cloud, maybe? Sephiroth? Like he's got to be, right?
I guess like kind of mainstream wise, sure.
Like most certainly 7 is probably the most popular.
I think in mainstream sense, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the villain for 6 is very popular. The clown guy. I'm forgetting his name. I think it's like Klefka or something. I gotta find that.
The clown guy.
I think it's like Klefka or something. Yeah, Kefka. Yeah, I know he's a pretty popular villain.
How do you spell
it? Kefka. It's like a big clown man.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is this?
I've tried to play 6. It's just a little too old.
Oh, this guy reminds me of what's that dude in Hunter x Hunter? Garrett, you know what I'm talking about. The dude that's taking the exam with Gon and whatever his name is.
I can't remember.
The clown guy. And he's wearing the clown makeup.
Oh, that guy. I can't remember his name. I know who you're talking about.
He's like this evil guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, speaking of anime, I watched about half of season 3 of Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
And that's a fantastic show.
Oh yeah.
And I was so
season 4 just debuted, right?
I think so. Because I was reading that like Crunchyroll got like destroyed in the process. Yeah. But I completely forgot everything. Attack on Titan is so fascinating to me because it's so followable and easy to understand in the first season, and then it just like goes in the complete opposite direction in season 2, with just like the politics of everything and just like what the Titans actually are and stuff. It just having not watched it for a very long time, I was so lost in season 3. So I watched like several catch-up videos to actually start to understand again what was actually going on. But
season 3 really expands the universe.
Yes.
And then 4 even more so. I have to imagine.
I just got, like I said, I was halfway through it. If y'all remember, without me giving spoilers, I just finished the episode where the Titan that drags itself across the ground, it can't stand up. They just took him out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I am.
It was pretty intense.
Yeah, it's really cool. So
yeah, it only gets crazier.
Oh, I'm sure. Just people like dropping last names of people just out of nowhere. I'm just like, oh,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, they're related. But
suddenly I care more.
Yeah.
Anywho, but I can't wait to hear your thoughts when you finish season 3.
I got so much to finish, dude. I got My Hero to finish. I got Attack on Titan. Got Sword Art to finish.
Preston, you need to finish some of this stuff.
Dude, I have all these. Like I said, I have all these games to play, and like I'm not going to watch anything. Like the second we're done with this podcast, my life is dedicated to football the entire rest of the day.
I'm going to the gym.
Well,
I got to drive to my parents' place to pick up a package.
Oh, present?
That is not for me. It's for Zach Bynum.
Ugh. Who's that?
Some guy.
Yeah.
Codename Ricky Pringus. I think we've covered all the news.
I think we have.
What we wanted to talk about.
I'm see how quiet we could be there for a second.
Anything we're forgetting? I don't think we have.
No.
You guys want to do some Ask OG?
Good, sure. I'd love to.
Wait. Hold on. Before we do that, quick thoughts on like the new Star Wars shows that have been announced by Disney.
It's overwhelming.
It's insane.
I didn't think they would go this deep into the TV show rabbit hole, but here we are. I don't have any problems with any of them. I mean, certainly some seem more exciting than others, but
definitely
time will tell which ones actually end up being the best ones.
I know,
some standouts for me were what was the one that was about like the dark side. I forgot what it was called.
It's called Acolyte, I think.
I think you're right. Someone was talking about it in our TV section. But another one, Ahsoka, could be cool. Obi-Wan Kenobi, obviously.
I'm most excited for Obi-Wan for sure, especially the announcement that Hayden Christensen's going to be Vader. It just makes me question: will he, at some point, remove his helmet and see his scarred face as Hayden Christensen? Because if he's in the show, what's the point if he's Darth Vader? You know, because anyone can be in the suit, and obviously they'll probably have James Earl Jones voice him.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Got Lando. The Lando show's coming, which is kind of cool. What
Cassian
else?
Andor, New Republic, Bad Batch. So many.
There's a bunch of Marvel
Boba
shows
Fett
too.
Show.
She-Hulk. There's basically
Marvel stuff.
Yeah, there's so much. Like it's hard to even remember.
I think the Hawkeye show is going to be awesome. That Jeremy Renner's in it, but they also have what's her name? She's a great actor.
I think my most anticipated Marvel TV show is going to be Loki. Like I really love Tom
looks
Hiddleston.
awesome.
Yeah, I
really
love Loki.
I'm excited for all their shows. I think WandaVision looks really interesting. It's definitely the most unique looking show I've seen footage from so far. I'm sure Falcon Winter Soldier will be a lot of fun.
Disney Plus is certainly starting to seem a little more enticing with all these shows.
I mean, when all this stuff is out, that's going to be awesome for sure.
But
I'm most interested in Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie by far.
Yeah,
really interesting font and like art style they chose for the logo too. It looks very Thor Ragnarok in a way, but very, very interested in that.
I'm glad we were talking about this because I need to cancel my Disney Plus after I just watched the latest episode.
Dude, I hope they just can the new trilogy and just say it's non-canon after a while because Disney has retconned stuff already. Like, you know, they've brought stuff out of Legends that was once deemed not canon. They've made stuff not canon and like changed a bunch of stuff. I'm hoping they just like completely drop the new trilogy at some point.
I highly doubt that's going to happen.
I would really appreciate
we can all
that.
hope.
I would really appreciate that.
Because they've clearly, I mean, though they've announced a ton of shows, they've taken great care in what they've done with Mandalorian so far. So I can only hope that the same care is put into these other shows. If I could pick 3 out of the million they've announced to succeed, it'd be Obi-Wan, probably the Dark Side show, the Acolyte show, and
Loki.
Probably no. I'm thinking Star Wars right now.
Sorry.
Probably Ahsoka. I mean, Ahsoka has potential. I feel like that was ironically enough, one of the weaker episodes this season was the one with Ahsoka. I thought it was very poorly directed. I could go on a huge tangent as to why I feel that way, but Dave Filoni is obviously a huge Star Wars fan. He knows his stuff, and he did amazing work with the animated series, but his live-action direction has not translated well so far. Like the few episodes he's directed, I feel like have been some of the weakest on the show. And it isn't that the source material isn't good, the writing isn't good. It's just the method of the way it's cut and the way the actors are, and it's kind of awkward. All of his episodes are very awkward to me. Although Ahsoka was cool in the episode, and there's a lot of beautiful cinematography. Overall, I felt that episode was very awkward.
I mean,
That's a side note.
I know we're not really talking about Mando yet, but I think I can say it pretty confidently that it's my favorite piece of Star Wars content in general. Like, I love that show. I think it's better than all the movies.
It is really good. I don't know if it's overcome my love for just the original trilogy yet, but it's full of great characters, fun adventures, very beautifully shot. I'm still blown away that they don't do anything outdoors. It's all in a studio. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, and sometimes you can tell that that's the case.
Yeah, but like for the most part, it works, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've definitely enjoyed it, and I really, really liked the conclusion to season 2. So.
Yeah. Season like. That might be the best episode ever. Like it's like
it
fan service
awesome.
to the max.
Yep. We'll definitely talk about that at the end of the podcast. But I think I know Pixar announced a lot of stuff too. I think the one that stands out to me the most is the Lightyear movie. I think that's such a cool idea that they're making the movie about the real life space ranger that inspired the toy. I think it's such a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I love Tim Allen, I think it's pretty cool that Chris Evans is voicing the real life Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
So really excited for that.
To infinity and beyond.
That has potential to be truly spectacular. Like whether it's like Space Command style from the animated series or what, but a lot of potential with that. I hope it feels as epic in scale as The Incredibles does.
Mm-hmm.
With like
what was that evil guy's name? Zord?
Zorg, yeah. Evil Emperor Zorg.
Surely we'll see him.
Mm-hmm. Zurg. It's Zurg.
You sure?
Zoig.
I think so.
It's Zurg.
Yeah. Yeah, Zurg's awesome. Well, now let's do Ask IOG. I want to try to remember this off the top of my head. I don't have our notes pulled up. Ask IOG is the part of the show where we answer your questions submitted through any of our socials at ItsObviousGaming, our Discord channel in the Ask IOG section, or email to us at ItsObviousGaming@gmail.com. And if you want your questions read live in the show, always include the hashtag AskIOG. First question out of 2 this week comes from Cozy. It says, "Hey boys, losing my Ask IOG virginity today, I think.
Oh.
Did any of you guys ever play the multiplayer in Assassin's Creed? I think I was one of the 5 people to actually enjoy and have many nights of good times on Brotherhood with my friends at the time. Or maybe it was Revelations. Shows how much it stuck. LOL. Before I get on to the next part, thoughts on Assassin's Creed multiplayer. I think the only time I played multiplayer was with you guys in Unity.
Yeah, I think I might have done it once with you guys.
Yeah, we did a video. We have a Let's Play of it actually on our channel from years ago. But we did play Unity together.
So you could do multiplayer in Brotherhood? That was the thing?
Yeah, multiplayer in Brotherhood, Revelations, and Black Flag had actual competitive multiplayer.
And I remember that.
I remember Black Flag.
It was like I'm pretty sure Black Flag had multiplayer.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Did it?
It was more like it wasn't like, I don't know if it was co-op though.
No,
maybe they were teams.
The only co-op game was Unity. All the other ones were competitive multiplayer.
Yeah.
It was like team deathmatch, or team hide and seek. It was pretty much like that. That was the gist of it. Is you had to blend in with your surroundings, use different perks that you had to blend in and assassinate the other players.
And that was like back sort of around the time when all these single player games were putting in multiplayer modes.
Yeah, it's like everything had to have multiplayer.
Yeah.
It like had to.
I'm so glad we're away from that.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I remember getting in the beta for Brotherhood and being so freaking hyped. Just
the problem
because
was that they would tie trophies to it too. So everyone wanted to like platinum games. It was annoying.
The worst was Tomb Raider, the reboot. Had that absolutely garbage multiplayer. It was so bad. I think 4 people on Earth ever played it, and it had trophies tied to it, like stupid trophies, like become max level in it and stuff, like just completely insane. I don't believe people actually in a legit way got those trophies. They had to have just boosted or something. There's no way somebody actually liked that game. The multiplayer aspect of it. I refuse to believe it. But I do remember those. And I thought they were fine, but I definitely came to the Assassin's Creed games for the single player stuff.
It's almost like Unity was built upon like multiplayer, because I remember the promotional trailer. I think it was at an E3 when we first saw it, and like you saw all these assassins like walking out. We were like, oh my god, there's like 4
the title
assassins.
like alone suggests the multiplayer aspect.
I mean, look at the cover of the game. The cover is
it has like 3 assassins.
4 assassins
right?
side by side.
Yeah.
It's like they were so sure that was a killer idea.
The thing is that the story, it doesn't even make sense why there's different assassins, because everybody plays as Arno, but it's like when you join another game, you're different. Like they throw a mustache on you or something. Yeah, it didn't make sense. At least as far as I remember, I don't remember how they justified that. But,
the story doesn't address it at all, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I still think Unity is one of the most underrated Assassin's Creed games. just for the parkour system alone.
I thought the city was nice.
Yeah, dude, the free running is freaking awesome in Unity. Just the animations, like how you can descend and ascend, how they kind of implemented that system in there. Thought it looked freaking awesome.
Yeah, wasn't that the first game where they really like had like really seamless or smooth transitions from different objects?
From up to down. Yeah. It implemented that if you held circle, you could free run down things. You didn't have to just like jump off of things or like leap of faith everything. And that was the first Assassin's Creed to also implement the kind of biggish levels where you could kind of make your own path on how to get to a target. Something that they expanded upon even more in Syndicate and then just completely dropped when they went into the trilogy of games we have now. But they were definitely heading in the right direction. But game, didn't run good when it first came out.
No, it did not.
No, but definitely, once it got some patches, and especially on PC, which I recently played it within the past year. Just because a video came up recommended for me, and that game graphically just holds up extremely well. It is a very good looking game. I think in some aspects it looks better than the modern games now. Assassin's Creed games looks very good.
You talking about Unity?
Yes.
Yeah, Unity is very beautiful.
Yeah, which is why I downloaded it. Just because, like I said, a video caught my eye, and I was like, dang, like, does it really look that good, or is this video a lie? But no, it really does look good. So, definitely underrated. Anywho.
Cozy goes on to ask, also, what are we thinking about the new Star Wars shows that's been announced? I'm a massive Star Wars fan and personally can't wait for the Star Wars Visions and the Ahsoka series, but still waiting on that Old Republic remaster at some point. Man, in terms of the old, I know we've talked about this a lot. In terms of like the Knights of the Old Republic remasters, I feel like those games could just be updated in general, like with gameplay systems and stuff. I think just a new Knights of the Old Republic RPG could be incredible. Like instead of just, I love Mass Effect, but instead of doing another attempt at Mass Effect, just go the Star Wars route and just do whatever you want to do in Mass Effect, do it in Star Wars instead.
Yeah.
Rather see that at this point, but
that would have been cool to see at the Game Awards. Like, forget the Mass Effect thing.
Much more interesting. I think the only person I've seen freaking out about the Mass Effect news is Shinobi on Twitter, that guy. Everyone else, I haven't heard or seen anything else.
I saw a lot of people get really excited, but, it's like you can only get so excited about a little announcement trailer.
I'm tired of not the VFX, the just cinematic animated trailers. I'm so sick of those, dude. They do nothing for me anymore. Absolutely nothing.
It depends for me. If it's a series that I really, really like am in love with, then yeah, it's cool to see that. But otherwise, yeah, it doesn't really do much. Like using it to announce a game doesn't really do much for me. I'd rather see gameplay.
Yeah, but I'm in terms of the shows, like we were just talking about, I'm definitely excited to see whether they interconnect or not. I know some of them are going to interconnect, but I am excited to just see different aspects of the Star Wars universe. And as much as I love Mandalorian, it still does lean a little too heavily on what's already been established. Not entirely, but a lot of it does.
It didn't at first.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how these other shows can explore parts of Star Wars that have nothing to do with what we've already seen, honestly.
Yeah. I think Mando handles it pretty well, though. Like it
isn't too overbearing, but it rides the line of too much. It's of being too familiar and leaning too heavily on what's already been established.
Sure,
but it is enough of its own thing for it to be really enjoyable, though.
I think it's things that deserve some more time too. At the same time, like, I can't really say anything without spoiling. So
yeah, we'll get there. I'm excited to talk about it. But Cozy, thanks for writing in. Bojangles 954, Mr. Kyle. Bojangles. He says, "Sup, fellas, how we doing?" Now that I'm even the first sentence, I'm like, probably should have read this at the top. Kyle, I don't know how I consistently always do this with Kyle's questions. It's like if I read it at the beginning, it'd be so much better. I apologize. We're going to read it anyway. It says, so Cyberpunk is out to mixed reception, and it got me curious. We all know of the meme fest that is the last-gen versions. Do you guys think it would have been better for the devs to abandon the last-gen versions and instead put effort towards continuing to refine the next-gen editions? I think a good amount of the lack of polish can be directed towards the fact that they needed to account for hardware that's 7 years old at this point. There are many devs that have come out and claimed they were creatively limited by the hardware that they had to work with. Do you think this may be, to some extent, the same case? Kudos to CDPR to not limit themselves and their vision and instead let the older versions suffer, but it makes the devs look bad when that version of the game is bad. I'm not trying to excuse the behavior, but I think it would have been a better idea to drop the last-gen efforts. I also need to know your guys' genital setup for the game. You a penis 1 or penis 2 kind of person, or even a chick with a stick or a man with a clam? I need to know. Finally, Attack on Titan is finally back, and I think Mappa did great on the first episode. Kind of crazy to think this 7 or 8 year journey is coming to its end. What do you guys think if you watch the first episode? Yeah, I've yet to watch the first episode, but I'm probably going to jump on that now that I've finished Mandalorian. So, very excited for that.
I think I might as well.
Whatever the default penis is in the game is what I'm using.
The default? What do you mean?
Yeah. Whatever's like already set when you get there, I'm like, that's fine.
You didn't mess with the penis settings?
I didn't. No, because I'd already like heard about them in the review and stuff. I'm like, oh, you can't like make it like comically small, or you can't make it like hilarious, like so big it's hilarious. So I was like, what's the point?
The most disappointing about the genitals is that it was purely all for just clickbait to get it in articles and stuff. Because
totally, because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. There's nothing that is RPG. Not that like having. If there were at least like more RPG aspects to this game of like role playing scenarios where like you could take people back to your apartment and like actually do things and stuff, then I guess that would matter. But none of that stuff's even in the game. So it was clearly just to get like articles written about it, just to have something obscene. Sure. So I think it's stupid to have them in the first place because it literally makes no sense. So I didn't even bother with it. I just had my guy wearing boxers the entire time and didn't even mess with it.
Yeah.
Wait, so you can't look down and like pull your pants on, like check out your dick?
No. That's the thing is even if you like do that, you can't do that. Because somebody wrote CD Projekt Red and was like, hey, I think there's a bug. Like I take all my clothes off and I'm still wearing boxers. But even in the inventory screen, they're completely naked. But out in the world, they're wearing boxers. And they replied and were like,
so weird.
They were like, no, that's how it's supposed to be. It's not a bug.
Yeah, it's completely irrelevant.
Yeah, so it literally doesn't do anything. It was, like I said, it was purely just for clickbait and just to get more publicity.
It's just to get people talking about dicks.
Yeah. So. But
dude, the best meme I've seen is one like, "Are you winning, son?" And the kid turns around and he's like on the penis setting. It's so funny.
I've kind of had an internal debate on this game. My guess is that they were just trying to be so ambitious with this game and we're thinking like, oh, we'll make it work later on these other systems when clearly they just kind of went too far. And I think that was a mistake because it doesn't even matter at the end. Because like we've been talking about this entire time, this game isn't even ambitious. Like they didn't do anything that like is groundbreaking in this game to even warrant it not working on the old consoles. You know what I mean? It's not like there's some like super complex AI that like literally can't work. It's just because the game isn't optimized well. And I think that if it were up to the developers, they probably would have left the last gen consoles behind. But I just think that with the head guys and the investors seeing the massive user base of the original consoles, and with as many people that had already pre-ordered it and stuff on those original consoles, there's no way they were gonna just leave that money. No way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious that the vast majority of purchases have been on last gen consoles. I mean, obviously there's a really big PC player base and there's like a very small percentage of next gen console owners, but in the grand scheme of things. But I feel like the majority of their purchases probably were on base PS4 and Xbox.
Actually, I think majority is on PC.
That's surprising.
I thought I read like 4.8 million was on PC. The rest were on everything else.
Mm.
If
but
not,
still,
it was
like,
extremely
a significant
close.
number nonetheless.
Yeah, it's just a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it's crazy, right? Because like this game was supposed to come out originally at the beginning of the year, I believe, and if that would have been the case, like despite like how unfinished the game is at its actual release, like we wouldn't have even had to worry about the new consoles because it was only Xbox One and PS4, and then the PC. So it's just like, when did they make that decision to purely focus on next gen? Like, was it before that? Like, did they just transition then? Like, because like obviously they wanted the game on PS5, Xbox Series X, but I don't know. It's like, it's weird to.
There's not even a patch for those systems though. It's backwards compatible. There's not even a next gen version.
Yeah, which is, I don't know, man. Like, it's just.
I mean, it's
like,
clearly
how could
they
you
were
forget.
They were.
How could you not touch up the base that's arguably the biggest console?
Yeah, I mean,
that most people have.
They were, promoted this game mostly with NVIDIA, like to showcase DLSS and RTX and stuff, which that stuff is incredible in this game. And it shows that was kind of like their main, that's where all their attention was pointed at. But
it's almost just like inexperience at this point. Like they're not like a Activision, they're not EA, like
not Rockstar.
Like they have like one huge big game.
In terms of that stuff, they're definitely not Rockstar. Because like I said, going back to Red Dead 2, it was like I was just being stuck in Cyberpunk for 70 hours, dude. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I went into Red Dead, it was like I was like it felt like I had stepped up to next gen playing Red Dead 2, and then I went back to Cyberpunk, and I was like, wow, like this, even graphically wise, looks like kind of dookie compared to Red Dead 2. Which I will say that I think me and Garrett, you were talking about this. I mean, Cyberpunk can look absolutely phenomenal, like just gorgeous 1 second, and then I can turn the corner and it looks like I'm playing a PS2 game. Like, it is just extremely inconsistent.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this while we were recording, but I'm playing in 1080p with pretty high settings. Like, textures are all the way up. A lot of the features that enhance like facial expressions or whatever, and like lighting, are all pretty high. So the only really difference I have is I don't have ray tracing. I don't have higher resolution. Those are really the only two things that I'm missing for the most part. And like you said, there are times when I'm like, wow, this is so good looking, but especially in 1080p doesn't help. But there have also been moments, like you said, that I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I mean, 1080p monitors?
I have a 2K monitor, but I tried playing in 2K and I could manage like between 45 and like 60 frames relatively, but I wanted to maintain that constant 60, so I just committed to 1080p.
No, I'm playing in 1440p with ray tracing on all high settings for the most part, with a DLSS on a balanced mode, and I'm getting between 70 and 80 FPS for the most part. And I go back and forth with ray tracing because it definitely looks better, but when I turn it off, I get into the hundreds, and like I said, sometimes the way that I'm
workhorse.
Yeah, sometimes when I don't even turn the ray trace reflections on. I just have the lighting on, which it is definitely a difference. Like the lighting is pretty like incredible. The way that, like, for a bench, for instance, with there being a light above the bench, there's no like shadow below the bench. With ray tracing off, turn it on, and like everything automatically reacts to the lighting. Like, it is really amazing. I just can't wait till it's not as taxing on hardware as it is now. Even so, on the new cards, it's still just so incredibly taxing, which is where DLSS comes into play, which that's like magic. How for the most part the image looks the exact same, even though it's being rendered at like a 1440p image using DLSS is technically 1080p being up-res to look like 1440p, and for the most part it's completely indistinguishable. Which is how that's pretty much how you're supposed to run ray tracing at this point, because just playing a game in native resolution with ray tracing just completely tanks the frame rate. Like, it's not playable. But especially if you talk about getting into 4K and stuff, like no chance that game on 4K with ray tracing native, even on like a 3090, I don't even know if you're getting 30 FPS on that. It's just so incredibly taxing. But anyways, like Garrett was saying, even with all that stuff going on, it still can just not look good sometimes. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but like I said, Red Dead, just even being a few years old, that game is just breathtakingly beautiful. And like I said, just how, granted, it's I hate comparing games as well, because Cyberpunk is a massive city with tons of NPCs walking
so
around.
Many systems in terms of like the characters and the writing and like all that. I'm sure that's super
I feel bad like comparing it to Red Dead, where like I said, I'm walking through Valentine talking to people. I'm like, there's like 20 people in the town.
Exactly.
So it's like it is, comparing two completely different things. But even like look at GTA and stuff. Like I kind of want to go back and just drive around that game and just kind of see what's going on, just to kind of compare them. And then I feel bad even comparing the games, because I don't even know if Cyberpunk was supposed to even try and be like a GTA game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's.
That's the problem, though, is that like I feel like it'd be better for it if it had systems similar to GTA, just interacting with the world. Like we talked about, although I didn't ever really golf or play tennis or do any of that crap in GTA 5, the fact that you can do it is what makes the difference.
And I guess to kind of argue with myself, like, oh, this is an RPG game, this isn't supposed to be like that. Well, for the game to fully immerse you as an RPG, I need to feel immersed in the city, and those things add to that. So I
like
need
the point too of
like
everyone said like you can't customize your character presently. I'm sure they're going to update that, but like
they have that has to be a part of the free DLC. You can't
change it, like not just like obviously changing your hair, getting new tattoos, but like I want an arm like Johnny Silverhand's arm just because it looks cool. Like I want a robot arm.
In the very beginning of the game, when you go into the Arasaka hotel and there's people like chromed out and stuff, like why can't I do that? Why can't I be solid gold? Like that's the whole point of Cyberpunk, is like you just completely deck yourself out.
Exactly. I would love that. And also the system where you the people talk about, you can like, I like the look of this item, although you can't upgrade stuff to just wear it entirely. I'd love to just, like in Diablo too, like this is my best piece of gear. It looks ridiculous, but I can mask it by putting on something I enjoy.
Yeah.
Which again, I the first person's cool and all, but I still wish it was a third person RPG.
I wish you could do it kind of like Fallout, at least look at yourself or see in cutscene. Why can't you see yourself in cutscene? Because originally, I believe there were supposed to be cutscenes where you could see yourself, but that was just something that was cut. And the thing that is clear as day that is probably never going to happen. Look at your shadow in this game.
I know, dude. Not just the shadow. Even if you look down at your body while you're running, it looks funny.
Ridiculous, dude. Like if you whip out like the mantis blades or something, your shadow looks absolutely insane. Like it is awful. It is repulsive what you look like in your. I wish I could just turn my shadow off just completely. Like I don't even want to see myself. It looks so bad.
I'm disgusted.
That's why I don't turn ray tracing on, dude. I have to look at my damn shadow.
I can't even look at myself in the mirror without a glitch happening. If you're wearing a hat, it's your entire top of your head is just shining. It's gone. I look like a 55 like middle-aged man. Like it doesn't look good at all because I'm wearing a helmet. And you have to wear a helmet too. I wish you could toggle it on and off. So I'm constantly. I actually look cool. I have the Johnny Silverhand pants with his boots, and then I have the jacket.
You're just a freaking poser, dude.
I have the jacket that's on the cover, but
you've been indoctrinated by the chip as the player, dude. You're actually becoming Johnny Silverhand.
Yeah. I have the jacket that's on the cover of the game, but I have a green version of it. And it looks awesome. Like my dude looks cool, but I'm wearing this Arasaka like military combat helmet because it has like 60 armor. I have to wear it. It's too good to not wear, but I look ridiculous because of my stupid helmet.
Yeah. So goodness gracious. It just goes to show this game needed a lot more time to be in development. Man.
I mean, at least if the game ran better, we could focus on this stuff, but it's like if they come out like tonight and they're like, man, we're adding a tattoo parlor, like customization with cybernetics, a haircut or barbershop. People were like, "That's really cool, dude," but I can't play the game. Like, I literally
make it like something cool, like not like obviously just visual enhancements you can just walk in and pay for. It'd be cool if there's a quest line for like some cyber enhancement, even if it is purely aesthetic. I mean, it'd be cool if it was aesthetic and had attributes you could customize. But if there was a situation, there's a quest like, oh, this cool robotic arm you got to like steal or something that's like in beta phase in like one of the corporations, it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So. I agree. I don't know. I am looking forward to the DLC of this game because I think once they get this game ironed out, they start to add some of the things that we're talking about and actually kind of take into consideration like the critiques of this game and stuff. I do think we could potentially have like a Blood and Wine situation where they're like, or like I think a Fallout Far Harbor is a better comparison because that they took into consideration the problems that people had with the main storyline in terms of like your choices affecting the outcome of Fallout 4, and they really took that to heart with Far Harbor actually having choices that meant something. And I think that potentially Cyberpunk could kind of like have a redemption expansion that really adds like either a side story or something with another character that actually adds a lot to the game and just makes it overall like, you know, a better package. So
absolutely.
Shout out to the tech weapons though. Those are pretty dope and make
I haven't found one yet.
Yeah, I actually that is kind of something that is different than some other games. You're able to completely shoot through walls with these guns. And I have one called the Widow Maker, I think, or Widow something. Oh. And it's really, really strong tech gun. So if I'm just fighting a bunch of guys, I can just kind of run far away, tag them, hide behind cover, and just like pick them off through like several walls and stuff, and they don't even know where I am.
That's really cool.
That's pretty cool. So also my hacking is so high to this point that there are these side missions where you fight some people that are going through cyber psychosis. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's essentially where like they just kind of go crazy due to the augments on their body. And I have a system reset hack, so I don't even have to fight them anymore. I just walk up to them and just hack them, and their entire body just shuts down. And I just walk up and loot them and leave. So
job well done.
Yeah. I've invested a ton of my time into the hacking skill tree, and I have the a legendary hacking chip or whatever to where I can have like 7 or 8, I can't remember, mods on it at a time.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
I have like none.
Yeah, I know the one you start off with only has like 2, I think.
Yeah, I think I have 4.
Oh, okay.
Not very many.
Yeah, I think we answered Kyle's question there.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I definitely want to start Attack on Titan Season 4 soon. Now that Mando's over, like Garrett said.
For sure.
I bet it's good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, before we wrap up, Preston, do you care about spoilers of Mandalorian?
Oh, dude, I just went on Twitter one time and everybody was like busting a nut, so I already know about everything.
Okay. Yeah, I surprisingly was not spoiled, even though I was on Twitter all day yesterday. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, season 2 overall was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Very good.
Obviously, the big standout episode is Luke Skywalker's return at the end of the finale. Mm-hmm. Really awesome. I thought it was cool. He had a Holloway fight similar to Vader from Rogue One. I think the coolest shot is when he crushes that Dark Trooper with the Force. Yeah, it's pretty sick.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, that was the fight I was hoping to see with Kylo Ren in Last Jedi that we did not get, even though he's an old man in that movie. So it was cool to see him. It was a little odd to me that they did decide to go with the deep fake style CG face again. It's fine. Like, I can live with it, but I still wish, because Sebastian Stan has long been pitched as like the young Luke Skywalker, if they were ever to recast a young Luke Skywalker. Mm-hmm. And he's so involved with Disney already. I'm like, why didn't they just hire him? I mean, I'm sure they've had the conversation. Maybe he doesn't want to do it, but even Mark Hamill's like, wow, Sebastian Stan does look like me when I was younger. So I'd rather him just fill the role and like actually be a real person. But it was still really cool to see him. Bittersweet ending too, that Din had to say goodbye to Baby Yoda, seemingly ending that phase of the show.
Yeah. Which is kind of sad, but it's also, it's cool that we'll have new things to look forward to, perhaps.
For sure. And it's a little confusing because there's still there's rumors that the Mandalorian's going to evolve and like not be about Din as much anymore and more about Boba Fett. Like Book of Boba Fett's his own show that's coming, and
which is cool.
It's coming around the same time that Kathleen Kennedy claims the next season of Mandalorian's coming, and it'd be weird to release them both simultaneously unless Book of Boba Fett is the continuation of Mandalorian. I don't know. But Din, I feel like there's still a lot to explore with his character because he's still like coming to grips with the fact that he doesn't have to be married to the Mandalorian religion, and he's learning to take off his helmet more. And
now he's to get really spoilery. He has the saber now, like it's his.
Yeah, the dark saber, and he has to deal with Bo-Katan wanting it and potentially liberating their home world. So that's a season in and of itself that I feel like writes itself.
Yeah,
there's like already some drama set up, and there's already a mission involved. So I think that's a really fun idea to explore. So hopefully we see that with Pedro Pascal, because I think he's a great actor, and it'd be a shame if they toss him aside.
Yeah,
I mean, as much as I like Boba Fett, I'd like to see a lot more Din Djarin.
Yeah.
So, hey Mando. So yeah, Boba Fett was really cool. I love the fan service in terms of like things that fans have talked about, and it's certainly been explored in books and comics that I know of, but it's never really in live action been explored. Like the dialogue at the beginning when the Imperial pilot tells what's her name, like, do you realize how many millions you killed with blowing up the Death Stars, and like, you guys are like mass terrorists compared to what we were doing. Like I think those ideologies are really cool when they're explored in that regard. So that was cool. I like that Bo-Katan obviously recognized Boba Fett's voice as a clone. It was really cool. Like I've heard your voice 100 times. Like you're no one to me.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. And I like the show in general. Like the Mandalorian himself, he's not like a bad dude. And like we've had the animated series, but besides that, like bounty hunters in the movies have been sort of pictured in this dark light. Like they always work for who's paying them, obviously. But they've never been like on the good side. So it's kind of nice seeing the Mandalorian show like a sort of a happier side or a brighter side to a bounty hunter, which is, we haven't seen a whole lot of that, I think. So I like it that the show sort of does that, even though sometimes he crosses the line a little bit when maybe like a Jedi wouldn't do that, obviously. So
yeah, that's what I think there's a lot to explore from his character, is that he's growing out of that. Ever since he met Baby Yoda, he's growing out of that just ruthless bounty hunter mentality. We've seen that over the course of 2 seasons now, and I'd love to see that further explored as he has a newfound I'd say pretty it's a word, like justified mission with good intentions to liberate the Mandalorian homeworld. What is it called again? Mandalore is what it's called. So I'd love to see that play out on screen.
Yeah. It is kind of sad to see Baby Yoda go. I mean, I know like it was getting to the point where the show was about the little guy.
Yeah, so a little too much. It's like, how much longer are we going to do this?
But it makes sense. He was like an adorable character. It'll be sad to see him go away.
And people question like, well, did Baby Yoda die in Kylo Ren's massacre of Luke's Jedi Temple? Like where is he in the new trilogy? So
that would be sad.
We got to see where that leads. And whether it's in one of the new TV shows or a new movie or a comic or a book, we got to figure out what happened to him. So. And I do wish that people had said this too, that Luke had addressed the fact that Grogu looks like Yoda. He had said something like, "You look like an old friend," or "You remind me of an old friend," or something. Would have been kind of cool.
Nice, but
alas, missed opportunity.
At first, I thought it was Yoda, but I was confused about the timing, like of when the series took place. So, like, oh, wait a minute, has it been Yoda this whole time?
Yeah. Yeah, good episode. It was actually directed by Peyton Reed. He directed the Ant-Man movies. And I feel like Peyton Reed is one of the least creative directors in Marvel's lineup presently. And he's going to be directing the 3rd Ant-Man movie. I'm just surprised. I'm like one of a few people that feels like Ant-Man needs a new director. I enjoy Ant-Man 1 and 2, but I feel like compared to all the other movies, they don't really stand out.
They don't.
I mean, this last episode was really good, but I think the best directors in the show have been... of course, Favreau. I think what's her name, who's she's show running Obi-Wan. She directed a lot of the good episodes from season 1. I don't think she directed any episodes in season 2. I can't remember her name, but she's the showrunner for Obi-Wan. She's phenomenal. Of course, Taika Waititi, the episodes he directed were great. But specifically, Rick Famuyiwa, I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but he's pretty good. His episodes are all right. And then Dave Filoni's are the weakest by far to me, which is odd because he gets to play with his characters that he came up with in the animated show that are excellent. But it's like he directs live action the same way he directs animation, and it just doesn't translate well. So his episodes are always very awkward to me. But overall, really awesome show, and really love the conclusion. And I'm very excited to see, of course, where all the other shows go. And specifically, I really want to see more from Mando himself and see where his story leads, because I feel like there's a lot left to explore there.
Oh, 100%. Like, I love that every episode is just like a little mini adventure. Like, I love just going into a new episode and knowing that they're going to go do something really cool, and then they're going to get rewarded, or, it's going to lead to this other thing they have to go do. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like it's really well put together in terms of the stories that they tell, just for the most part. And also, how did you feel about the showdown between Moff Gideon and the Mando?
It was a little underwhelming. I think it could have been better. Yeah. And that you could tell there were hints of like really cool choreography they had in mind, but it was so short-lived that I was like, that was kind of a bummer. It
was still exciting, though, in a way. Yeah. It was a cool scene.
I mean, it is cool that the Beskar can't be pierced by a lightsaber is so sick to me.
Hey, it was getting hot, though. Like, if it would have kept going.
It'll heat up. I mean, maybe eventually it'll cut through, but supposedly that's the legend that Beskar is the strongest metal in the galaxy.
I mean, he was hitting him several times with the saber, and it was just blocking him, even with his armor.
Yeah, even strong enough the Dark Trooper couldn't punch through the helmet, but it was like denting the wall behind him was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. That was intense.
Those Dark Troopers are very Terminator inspired. They feel and remind me much of the Terminator.
Especially when they like fly back in from space and reboard the ship.
Yeah. I was glad they were back. I was gonna be really disappointed if he blows them at the airlock and they just disappear. I'm like, man, you hyped up these troopers and they're just gone.
Oh yeah, that was disappointed right when they got shot out the airlock. I was like, that's it? Are you kidding me?
And then Luke comes in and just massacres all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool scene.
Shows how strong Luke is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did a pretty good job summing that up. Really love the show. It's probably my favorite show right now that's running. Mm-hmm. It's just such a treat to tune in every Friday night.
I will say, I think one of my favorite scenes in the entire season was when Bill Burr's character was talking to that Imperial guy. Mm-hmm. The guy who played, I think he played Rorschach, and he played the Freddy Krueger in the reboot they did years ago. But that was just a really great scene, like well acted, awesome dialogue, and the way that, I mean, I think that the second half of that episode is really awesome. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's a good one for sure.
I think it was one of Rick's episodes.
Is that the one where they let him go?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the planet.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Really enjoyed Robert Rodriguez's episode when they introduce Boba Fett and he gets his armor back and has that really awesome action scene. It's a short episode, but it's really good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I hope that Boba Fett show's good. I wonder, like, what he's going to be doing.
Yeah, it's interesting that he went back to, I mean, it was cool after credit scene where he goes back to Jabba the Hutt's palace and, like, kills that guy who's, like, fat now. That was hilarious.
Boba the Hutt.
Yep. Yeah. I love how they paid homage to that scene when Leia arrives, or when Luke arrives at the temple, or or his palace in Return of the Jedi, and he chokes those guys and they fall down the stairs or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was cool to see that again, and really cool last shot. I don't know what Boba's plans are there, but we'll see. I can only hope that some of these Star Wars shows take a more traditional storytelling route with series where it's an ongoing, continuous narrative versus like new adventures every week. I think it works for Mando, and I'm cool with a couple of the shows doing that, but I don't want every show to be like that, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Especially Obi-Wan. No adventure crap with Obi-Wan. I want a very strong, focused, singular narrative, 8 strong episodes that tells a singular story. Even if they time jump a bit, I don't want like, oh, today in Obi-Wan's life, he's fighting Tusken Raiders. The next day, he's having to go into town and find somebody to talk to. Like, I don't know. I don't want adventures with Obi-Wan. I want something like very not grounded in the sense that it's not like Star Wars, but like dramatic, and like Ewan McGregor is a phenomenal actor. Like, I want him to not just be Obi-Wan again, but like see a side of Obi-Wan we've never seen before, like really dramatic stuff.
Excited to see him in costume.
Yeah, like the confliction of like he and Vader, and dealing with, because I think they said this is 5 or 10 years into Luke being a kid. I think it's like 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. So Luke's like a young boy, so they can explore that a little bit. There's so much potential there. Yeah. So he'll undoubtedly talk to Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen, I'm sure, at some point. I hope they bring back Joel Edgerton to be Uncle Owen. I think that'd be really cool. I mean, he's the perfect age to be his uncle again. Mm-hmm. So much potential there. We know the action's going to be good because I can't remember her name, but the woman who's running the show directed just awesome action in season 1 of Mandalorian. So very excited. But I got to dump my brains out, as always, typically at the end of the podcast. I've had a dump since we were talking about Game Awards.
Her name's Deborah Chow.
Deborah Chow. Yep, that's her name.
I also need to go to the bathroom.
Cool. Well, gentlemen, I think that will do it for, I think this was 254 of the It's Obvious podcast. So much fun as always. And ladies and gentlemen, of course, remember this podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, and join us on Discord to hang out and talk all these movies, games, TV shows. Always a fun place to hang out, and we appreciate your continued support and encourage you guys to write in any questions whatsoever for Ask OG, be it game-related, movie-related, TV, life, whatever you feel like writing in. We'd love to hear from you on any of our social media, email, or Discord, and always include that hashtag AskIOG. But gentlemen, it was a pleasure, and I cannot wait to talk to you again soon.
Yes, and we've also failed to mention this whole episode that Merry Christmas. It is this week. So everyone have a very Merry Christmas.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Hope you all get what you want, or spend some great time with your family, of course.
Totally.
Until next time.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.